know, like, yeah, he's incomparable. So that is a really good point. It did feel like Lambo was playing well above his level, and you know, it is a little bit heartbreaking to see him go out. But that does make me wonder how will Beyond match up against Cyril in the upcoming match.
Yeah, and
sure.
we will get to see a bit more of that, as that is going to be one of the matches we'll be covering here, I think, a little bit later on. But that first match of the day, as I think you alluded to, Katz, is going to be Zaun versus Solar. And Katz, you were saying there's some stories and stuff there. Tell us a little bit more. What's coming up in this first match?
I mean, it's obviously two Korean powerhouses. They're not even on the list of dark horses, I think. Perhaps unfairly so, but every player at the tournament is obviously insane. More importantly, both of them are representing two of the favorite teams. The winner of last year, Falcons, against Vitality, who stands at the top of the team rankings this year. And, you know, like I've talked a lot with Solar. I've traded ideas with Solar over the years. And we talked to him leading to this event. And Zaun is one of the hottest Protoss players. And really, when you slap hot and Protoss together in this day and age, that's a dangerous combination.
Oh man, for some reason I thought that was going to be some word pun or something when you slap them together.
I mean, you got, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could come up with something there.
No, I got nothing on that one. Hot
Cheetos.
All right, Dave, Katz, back off for a second. Dave, I'm really curious. Both of these players, to me, are players that are extremely capable, have shown their mettle in the past, but I think they are still looking, both of them, for that kind of like larger run deeper into the tournament and everything. Who are you kind of favoring coming into this one?
You know, I really went back and forth on this one because initially I was like, oh, if it's a best of 5, I think I give it to Zaun because he feels really solid right now. He has some of the best late game spellcaster control of Protosses in Korea. I would actually rank him #1, maybe even above Classic, which that might be another hot take right there. But I think in a best of 3, Solar is going to have some nasty, sick builds. I think we're going to see maybe some layer timings with you know, the German taxi and just that overlord speed, no roach speed. I think we could see some maybe spicy stuff coming up. I think if it were to go to a longer series, I'd favor Zaun, but I think in the short best of 3, I think I got to give a slight edge to Solar.
Yeah, all the builds that you were mentioning are those kind of faster paced, more aggressive builds and everything, Katz. And I'm so curious, do you feel like Solar is going to be more favored in those kind of like games, or do you think it's going to be more Zaun?
Well, experience is definitely there for Solar in this kind of stage. He has been doing this probably for the longest out of anyone in the field. Maybe not Maru, who was doing this since he was a kid as well, but he is definitely one of those veterans from the scene that can really know how to approach this type of tournament where you get a lot of time to prepare for an opponent. And I know firsthand that he has been doing that. He has been studying sound, he has been studying his options, and I think he's ready for it. So,
all right, well, it looks like the game is ready. Guys, take it away.
Absolutely. We have ourselves spawning up in the top left, the Korean Zerg player for Falcons. Give it up for Solar.
And his opponent in the bottom right-hand side of the map for Team Vitality, it is Zaun. All right, Dave, what can you tell me about Incorporeal in this matchup?
Well, the thing that jumps out to me, actually, honestly, there's so many features. This is probably one of the quote-unquote weirdest standard maps, if that makes sense. We got torches, we got Last Fantasy, 3-player map, you got that healing shrine on the left with torches. This map, though, you've got that watchtower in the middle that has contested ground on both sides. You've got a no gas middle base, so only 6 bases per side, and then you've got a pseudo island base on the bottom left and top right. So many interesting features about this map, and it led to one of the longest, closest games we've had in recent history between Cyril and Classic at DreamHack Dallas that I don't think people are going to be forgetting that ending anytime soon. So I wonder if we'll see it turn into a split map scenario. I think that's something Solar's going to try and avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about that middle base, however? Like, I feel like it's a very difficult base to take, especially with the watchtower I love the Watchtower on this map, but a gasless base, it kind of feels like a last resource should the game go to complete endgame.
Yeah, and it really does. And I mean, I don't want to echo that game too much, but we saw so much of it there where both players were really, they tried to take the base, but they weren't all in on it for a very long time. And, you know, I remember Cyril, he had a mineral bank of, I want to say like 13,000 at some point, but ultimately it did actually come down to not having enough minerals at the end. If he has, you know, another 500, even like maybe even a little bit less minerals, I think he might win that game in the base trade. There's a lot of things that could have gone differently, but ultimately, even though we think a map might go a certain way, it can always end up changing differently throughout the game. That's the beauty of StarCraft. Even though there are so many similarities to each game, there's also just so many differences. Speaking of which, we see a pylon block at the third base.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a mistake by Solar in revealing the drone as early as he did there, knowing that the probe was around being chased by his Zerglings. So I feel like he should have held on the drone, and then he wouldn't have gotten pylon blocked, because if the probe doesn't see the drone, it has really much less of a reason to start patrolling around there. But ultimately, it's fine.
Yeah, no, that one, you're looking for your opponent, you're looking to catch them only building 2 lings, and then with only 2 lings, only 1 drone, you don't have the DPS to take down the pylon before the Adept arrives, and then the game gets super messy for the Zerg. You feel awful about that. Fortunately for Soli, he had built the safety set of 4 lings total, so he was okay with that. But it was one of those checking moments. Did you do this? Did you do the responsible play? And Solar, he did. So, you know, it's ultimately not a big deal.
Yeah, very interestingly also for Sound actually opening with a Phoenix before going into the Oracle production, so he's going to be able to get a little bit of map control up in the air, kind of negate any vision from Solar. Solar still gets to see that there is an Oracle, and even the pathing that Oracle is taken. So now that Sound knows that, I wonder if he will reroute the Oracle to hit from a different angle or just commit to this one.
Yeah, that's a really intriguing thing. It looks like he wants to try and skirt the Watchtower and maybe do what you're talking about, but a set of lings does see that Oracle coming, so he should be prepared in the main base as long as he's paying attention. And Solar is an incredibly fast player, but little opening.
Yeah, we'll get a drone for his troubles. Quick reaction from Solar to make sure that he didn't lose anything in the natural, but it actually maybe ends up hurting him a little bit. However, it's mostly marginal advantages here that Sound is gaining, and this Oracle was a little bit later than normal as well. Second one is now out, and you oohed, Dave, so tell me what that's about.
That is a very fast layer. That is a, not some kind of, you know, we skipped ling speed layer, but that is a...
As the Twilight Council out for Sound. Will not get, or will he get to the... He almost commits for that. That was very dangerous on both ends.
Yeah, that was nerves of steel right there. Out of Solar. Just not feeling like he was going to lose that, and he was correct about that. A lot of Adepts here. 4 being shown initially. It's actually 7. This is something I feel like Showtime loves to do quite a bit. You've seen very conservative play with these Adepts so far, but the Lings are out of position. He might shade with this.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage indeed. There's an evacuation by Solar, but it is a little too late. And the beautiful thing about this Adept is it's actually a Blink follow-up. And usually what you want against Adepts is those Roaches, but against Blink Stalkers, you actually want more Zerglings.
Yeah, that is true, but this is something really interesting that just happened. We did see Overlord speed produced. We've got a Dropper Lord that was just made, and Solar did something very nice there. He did not show the Roaches that he's been building. This is going to be that German taxi that I was alluding to. Queens, get in the Overlord. We're going for a party across the map. Lings, Roaches, Ravagers, no Roach speed. It's going to be a very committed attack from Solar. And this is a big army supply advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sound only has the 2 Oracles, and he's already committed most of the energy. Had he 1 more Oracle, maybe it would be enough with the help of the Phoenix to kind of negate this Queens. But as it stands, it looks pretty good for the Queens to actually reign supreme on the air. However, a lot of Lings being sacrificed effectively to the Oracles of Sound. I'm not sure that that was the right call for Solar, who is now going for the 3rd of the Protoss player.
He's dropping creep from that Overlord. No blink, no +1 just yet, but it is closing in. Lings have been really cleaned up, but Solar is keeping his foot to the floor. He is not pulling up from this attack. Still some static defenses coming online for Zaun, but the batteries are out of energy at the moment.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a problem for Sound. However, I think a lot of those links that spilled in were a problem for Solar in themselves because
that
I mean
pylon.
he got so much value out of the Oracle. Sound did.
Ooh.
Beautiful there though.
That is 4 shield batteries being depowered right there. We've got a lot of stress from both players. It is going to be probes pulled away from the base. This was starting to look good for Zaun as he held off of that blink, but he just does not have the units, and Solar is unrelenting with this aggression.
Yeah, Solar has to be really careful because once you lose all those Ravagers, which is exactly what Sound is going for, then the backbone of your army is no longer there. And all of a sudden, your links are gonna struggle to find the surface area potentially. So you got to be really careful of your Solar. If you can kill this third base, you are going to be happy, however.
He is, but he's droning very early, and he has not yet confirmed the kill. Grosabile will actually catch one of his own creep tumors, unfortunately. He's still got another one, though. So if he can get the kill on this, this is going to be a long time to retake this. Because, yeah, look at that. The Robo facility starts up. We still have these lanes getting in. So many coming in out of nowhere. And that is a creep position. Defender's advantage at your opponent's front door. And Solar gets a really great fight at the tail end after killing the Nexus and droning up.
Yeah, exactly. The droning up is the beautiful part here. Solar basically anticipates, I have enough already on the way and on the field to get the third, and that's all I want. Then chooses to disengage. Sound doesn't have that information. Sound has to anticipate that Solar could be continuing on with the all-in. So it's a beautiful transition for Solar into the economy, but Sound is wise to it now. As soon as he sees that Solar is retreating, he will drop extra tech with the Templar Archives and try to reestablish his third. Great.
Yes, he is, of course, going to take that pocket third here. Obviously, no creep spread there. It would have been amazing if Solar could have sneakily dropped a queen, but we don't all have 7,000 APM. But what he does have is that Dropper Lord left over from earlier. Queen or Lings are going to get dropped in the main base, and any probe he could grab would be a nice one. But very good defensive setup here from Zaun, utilizing his SimCity very effectively. We are going to see this Blink Stalker trying to survive using that cheeky little, you know, kind of hop across the pond move. But Solar, he's got the kill.
Yeah, he's got it indeed. And now Sound trying to kind of just probe into Solar side of the map, make sure that Solar has been making units, but maybe he's biting more than he can chew. As Solar didn't just make units, he made a whole lot of units and a lot of Ravagers. So he is looking for the next set of this attack where he's going to look for another cancel on the third. And I think if he wins this fight and he gets another cancel on the third, it's probably lights out. Sound knows it, will tap out, and Solar gets a point on the board.
Yeah, very nicely done from Solar right there. I was looking at that attack, and you know, I saw a lot of Blink Stalkers on the field. I saw that there was the base was still pretty high in HP. Lings were getting cleaned up pretty quickly, and then that shield battery or that pylon went down, and the shield batteries all got depowered. I know they were low on juice, but it was still, that felt like kind of the momentum swing right there, where that attack went from kind of being iffy to very successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that Sound did a lot of things right. I think the attack from Solar was a little bit sloppy, actually, to commit the links in early against the Oracles, because the Oracles were not going to find much utility against the Queen. So if you just hold the links back and wait for the rest of your army to arrive and then use the links, then you can zone out the Oracles better with the Queens, and you have more links and your opponents going Blink Stalkers. I think the biggest problem for Solar is build order choice. As beautiful and as cool as it looked, to go into the Adept trick and then go into the Blink Stalkers, that was a beautiful mind game, but it just doesn't account for an all-in like this, right? It's just not the pieces that you want on the board.
Yeah, and it's not that it's a bad build, it's that the Adepts didn't find that crucial information in time. If he sees those roaches, if he sees Overlords moving fast because of Overlord speed, if he sees something that gives him an idea that it's going to be this very committed, almost, I don't call it a fake third base, but 48 drones, you only got 2 bases saturation plus a handful extra. It's going to be really, really difficult to hold that, going up to 3 base full saturation, getting all that tech. And yeah, unfortunately for Zaun, he wasn't able to scout it. Great job from Solar denying giving that information away. And ultimately, yeah, it's a great start to this for Solar.
Yeah, absolutely. A beautiful job there. And we can see that Minsu's in good spirits there on the camera. He was smiling a little bit. He is kind of sitting very comfortably, as he often does. Yeah, I mean, no pajama pants this time around. It seems like Falcons have provided him with comfortable enough pants that he doesn't need the pajamas.
Yeah, those kind of look like, I don't think they actually are, but they kind of remind me of the old tearaway pants. Just something about the fabric. But he's yeah, I've never noticed that. He crosses one of his legs over. Is that like, you obviously know him pretty well in terms of like some of his mannerisms. Is that like a common Solarism, I guess?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I just know that he likes be comfortable at events, and he will try to make the event kind of like how he would play at home. And I think that's a good thing to do. You know, just try to find that comfort, try to be as much at home as you can feel. And I think that he tries to do that. He tries to emulate that, and it works out for him.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does. And it certainly did in that previous game. I mean, we talk about speed all the time, but even though he was rated highly, and, you know, I talk about it all the time, a lot of people don't think of Solar as necessarily the fastest player, but he was rated by his peers as a top 3 fast player. So it's super important that when you're moving so fast, you're able to stay comfortable so you don't get those misclicks, you don't get in your own way.
Absolutely. As we are now loaded into Tokamak Ladder Edition, in the top right-hand side, it is for Falcons Solar.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left for Vitality. Looking to even the series at one apiece, it is Zaun.
We'll see if he's able to do that. Not amused he looks.
I mean, I wouldn't be feeling too amused after that game one if I were Zaun, that's for sure. Like I said, the positioning of the Stalkers was pretty, honestly, pretty great around that third base. He got a lot of Ling kills early. If he holds that attack, you know, things are looking good. He manages to get up Blink in time, but he just wasn't able to recognize that Artosis pylon and keep it from getting sniped. And it just, that once again, felt like kind of the beginning of the end of that game.
Yeah, absolutely. But it really comes down to what you were saying about the scouting and really realizing that the attack was coming earlier, because otherwise he would have had the 2 pylons, right? It's more like, oh my god, I gotta drop the shield batteries right now. I have 1 pylon available. And Solar does manage to snipe it. However, it was even kind of late to where 2 or 3 of the batteries were already very low on energy. Yeah. But it still makes a difference over time for sure.
Yeah, and there was a 4th battery finishing up that was not able to contribute, and then a 5th battery, I think. That one might have been powered by another pylon behind it, but regardless, it's still definitely something that kind of lets the air out of the tires too, because then you can't warp in directly onto the fight because the other pylon is off the Nexus. There's no fast warp-ins. Just something that, like you said, it's so much easier to set it up ahead of time instead of having to get in the moment and crisis manage your way when you're, you know, in a super chaotic, high-pressure stake situation.
That is the beauty of this tournament as well, right? Like, the players have so much time to prepare, to study their opponents, to look at their weaknesses, that they are able to put them into those zones where they're not going to be comfortable. You practice that same game as Sound 1,000 times, I guarantee you by the second time you're already not doing that, right? You already have 2 pylons on the second try. So really, it is about chaos. It really is about surprise. And even at the highest level, when you have very little time to process, you will force mistakes.
That you will. And this is something kind of interesting right here. Normally, we see this 3-1 split with the Lings, where one of them goes across the map and, you know, tries to scout in. But he sees what his opponent, like, that there was a small miss micro with the probe, so he pulls that one back that was going across the map to snipe that probe. Very cute little move from Solar. It does cost him 2 Lings ultimately. I actually think I want to see a cancel on the Shade. I don't know, he's just gonna shade out, but that's a lot of damage. That's what was that, 2 Lings and a drone?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That.
I mean, yeah, I love that. I think if he canceled the Shade, he would have probably forced a Spore or 2 to be morphed. I don't think he would have gotten any more drones, so I really kind of like what he did. But I agree with you. I mean, the move by Solar was quite cool to just see that the probe was kind of capable of getting corralled by his Lings and pulling that Link back to make it happen. So really great moves, I think, by both players here, but maybe Sound a little bit happier in the end.
Yeah, it's, I mean, ultimately you can argue night and day about who wins out on such a marginal trade. Ultimately, I think it actually comes down to the players, whether they feel good about it or not, honestly. I think that's probably, it's a vibe check, you know?
Absolutely.
If the vibes feel good, then you're like, yeah, okay, we're fine with that. It is going to be that similar Phoenix into, I believe, double Oracle play once again out of Zaun. And this is obviously a big comfort play out of him. Ling, of course, does scout that 3rd Nexus there and sees it's a pretty darn standard 345, 350 timing.
Yeah, for sure. But Solar only has 1 Overlord out on the map. That's really what you need against Protoss. So, you know, he's going to cut that corner, if you will, to not really lose anything else. The other Overlords are already kind of in position to be saved and sheltered by the Queens. So, you know, the Phoenix does the bare minimum, but that's all Sound wants out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ideally, you lift a solitary queen, 2 oracles get into a base and snipe 3, 4,
Might see it
15
here.
drones.
Oh, actually, yeah. I mean, he went for the lift on the queen, but didn't commit with the oracle to try to snipe the other queen. Maybe he should have waited for the second one, as you were suggesting.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird move. I feel like right there. That was a little bit unenviable. But you know, it's not the biggest of deals. Honestly, if he commits in, maybe he loses the oracle. So a tiny bit of hull damage on the Phoenix, wasting some lift energy. It's not a big deal. We are going to be seeing a pretty quick 4-gate blink out of Zaun to follow this up. What that means, of course, is that you're going to have the blink a fair bit faster than that +1 weapons. And that's going to keep it a lot safer against the kind of build we saw in the previous game out of Solar. But for Solar's part, he's not going for a massively committed low drone attack. He did get a relatively quick layer, but he's raced up to that 3-base full saturation, 6 gas, 66 drone count pretty darn quick.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. I mean, given the circumstances, there's no adepts on the map that can really punish this for a while, right? Sound is going to have to wait really for the blink to try and do anything, more so perhaps for the +1. But Sound has his own transition as he now drops both the Templar Archives and the Robo.
This could be very interesting. So, a lot of times we're going to think that that means a very quick hive, but it can also always mean swarm hosts. And Tokamak does have some nasty positions. I mean, most maps do.
What about Infestors? Could that be the case?
Oh, I mean, I could be Do you think it's going to be Infestors?
I would like Infestors against Blink. I think it's a viable way to do it, but we'll see what Solar chooses here. I think that players have started talking a little bit more about Infestors in both CVP and CVT matchups in recent history. But I mean, the Infestation Pit is done, so it is going to be Swarm Host, Dave. Okay. I mean, that's interesting. How do you like this against what Sound is doing?
I like it a lot on paper until it got scouted immediately upon the Infestation Pit finishing. Very nice scouting right there from Zaun. And not only does he scout the Infestation Pit, he doubles into the main to make sure that there's not a hive starting up. And you can see right here, he's already looking around, scouting around, setting up scouting patterns for the potential Nidus network drop. This is really, really nice play out of Zaun so far. But it is not just a matter of scouting it. You still have to defend it correctly, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Swarm hosts are one of those units that you miss a wave, and things can get very nasty very quickly.
And that is where I'm wondering how this very fast storm is going to come into play. Is the storm going to be able to actually negate the first wave of Swarm hosts easily, Dave?
That is a really good question. We're going to have to take a look at the third base right there. Blink Stalkers will get out of there. Little kind of bit of a bait of the first storm. There are 2 more storms available at that third base.
And you have batteries too, right?
I think so. That's a good question, but this is a lot of DPS very quickly. Stasis wards, that's what I wanted to see. We've got one getting triggered. The other one will get baited out there.
Oh, beautiful.
He is just going to drop into the mineral line, forces his opponent to storm his own probes, but a very quick pull from Zaun. Excellent crisis management from the Korean Protoss.
And from the Korean Zerg as well. I mean, to drop those into the mineral line means that he has to storm the probes, like you were saying. Anywhere else, I mean, I think the first wave gets negated by one storm, and Solar is really sad. But here he actually finds value in a position that looks very difficult.
Yeah, I still think I like this for Zaun coming out of it, but there is so many more opportunities for Solar to still find damage. However, Zaun has gone very quickly up to a 4th base, very quickly up to the double Stargate Tempest transition. Meanwhile, a big blink forward against the Roach army. Is there going to be anything to defend this attack on the right side, or the third base? The answer is yes. Very nice probe pull, great storms, and a really great defense from Zaun once again.
Yeah, and the Roaches are going to get out, luckily for them. But yeah, there's definitely more Stalkers than they can handle right now. So the Vive check goes in favor of Sound once again. Feedbacks are possible here onto those Queens should Sound want to do it, but maybe he wants to just wait for that next set of Locusts.
Yeah, I think that would be the better value play. Because, I mean, the Queens, wherever the Queens are, the Oracles can just go to the other side. And I love this, what he's doing right here. He focuses that Nidus network. The attempt from Solar to really pick Zaun apart is getting kind of blocked at every turn. I just got to give massive props to Zaun for this defense. And once the Tempests are out, I mean, the tech disparity is going to be a little bit harsh. We do have that Hive done. It is going to be a Lurker transition behind this, and we've seen Solar going up to a decent worker count. But 4 base versus 4 base, I'm not a fan of this for the Zerg player.
Absolutely not, especially when you have so much of the supply tied to the Swarm host, and kind of the window to really be as effective as they can be has closed a little bit, right? So, I mean, that's not the kind of unit that you ever want to trade either, because, you know, you shouldn't have to. So it's kind of an awkward position where your army is going to be pretty small, you have a lot of supply tied to Swarm host, and they're already kind of countered.
Yeah, it's definitely awkward's a great way to put it. Now we do have on a very aggressive blink forward here, going to be able to snipe 2 lurkers.
Beautiful.
Really heads up play from Zaun there, and he's going to get away with this scot-free. That was an expertly picked pocket right there.
Absolutely, and Sound, I mean, looking better and better. Now the Spire goes down for Solar, but like you said, the tech is definitely lagging behind. Solar is trying to make something happen with the army that he has, seeing if he can trade effectively one way or another, but I mean, as Sound reaches his 200 supply mark, things are going to get more and more difficult.
Yeah, and that was another really nice move right there with the blink forward. That is the 5th lurker that these blink stalkers have sniped. They are kind of popping off for Zaun here. Solar is maxed out. He's moving in on the left side, does force out some storms, but those storms get some pretty darn good value. And Zaun, oh, does he lose? Uh-oh, okay, this is actually starting to look kind of good for Solar. There's lurkers in position here. If he can snipe this base, that is really, really nice for Solar.
Yeah, very impressively done, actually, for Solar to find the opportunity here. It was looking really, really good for Sound, but now he's going to be constricted to 3 base. Still, he has kind of like the better army, I would say, down the line, but the Swarm hosts are now finding value on their own as the army of Sound has to move to defend the right flank.
Oh, and now we see a high energy Templar getting taken down. Tempest getting taken down as well. A pincer move with the Locusts. Oh my goodness, this was looking so good for Zaun for so long. But one Locust wave kind of causes a little bit of a missed defense from Zaun. Solar unrelenting with that aggression, like we said from the start. And he is just looking to punch his ticket into that next round.
That was absolutely clean. I mean, that is crazy, actually. It felt like nothing was really going Solar's way, but unrelenting aggression has made it so that he can actually just defeat his opponent straight up. I mean, what's that about, Dave?
That's like the DPS of the army, of those Locusts, of those lurkers if they get burrowed up, puts so much pressure on an opponent. And we saw Zaun, he got up to those Tempests, but what is the Tempest job? It's to deal with lurkers. It's to slowly chip away at your opponent. It doesn't deal with a highly mobile army necessarily the best. It's not a stand and fight unit until it has the complements, you know, a super high Templar count, maybe some Archons for support, maybe Immortals. We did not see a single Immortal produced in that game. It was all the Blink Stalkers straight into the Tempests. And Solar, I mean, he just kept the attack going. Zaun made one little slip up, it felt like, and it was just suddenly over.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like the Tempest transition was a little bit early in retrospect? Because I agree with you. I mean, when you look at Sound's army, I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, Solar is maxed out. Now, Sound starts at 150 supply, climbs all the way up to 170, but never really quite gets maxed out. And he never quite finds that army that the Zerg wants to avoid fighting, which is where the Tempest thrive, because then you can chip away at your opponent slowly but surely. Here, the Tempest DPS is just not really that high, and your core army is kind of getting whittled away still because you don't have that death bowl that you want to support it.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to kind of philosophy, right? Like, if you... Theoretically, I don't think it's a mistake for him to have gone straight to the Tempest. It just puts pressure on him to do everything perfectly until he hits that critical mass of maybe maxed out, or, you know, he's able to throw down 2 more Robos and start pumping Immortals to really give him a stronger, sturdier backbone than just those Blink Stalkers. But when you play that way, you play on that knife's edge, sometimes you're going to get cut. And Solar, he was swinging that katana with a fury that was just... ooh, immense. Yeah,
that's exactly how I felt. I mean, we never really, I mean, we're looking at the highlights right now, but we never really saw a transition from Solar. He did have the Spire, but we never really saw Corruptors come into play, for example. So he was super committed to one of these waves doing the damage, and once he finds the 4th, actually, he just keeps committing. So, yeah, we see the GG there on the first game. And, yeah, I mean, as he encroaches on forward after killing that 4th base, completely exposed his Sound, and he's never really able to reach that death ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like not a lot of players can do what Solar did have those clean, you know, transitions into the hive, transitions into the lurkers. I wanted to point it out, but there was nonstop action. He had a really nice timing for +2 missile, Hydra speed, but we're going to throw to a quick interview with Solar. We got Ravi, we got Solar. Let's see what they have to say.
Thanks so much, guys. I'm here with Solar, the winner of that last match, coming in hot off of a fairly fast victory. How did it go?
Oh, well, as I expected, it was pretty easy because I knew what Protoss going to play against me. So, yeah, as I expected.
Yeah, I did notice that the build orders and stuff that you did were fairly aggressive, you know, Nidus Swarm, Swarm Host stuff, or like the Road Adrenaline. What kind of made you decide to go for that?
Because first game, I knew he's going to do like this, like he's gonna make 6 cuts without any scout and just going for the Templar archives. So I just gonna all in aggressive. And second game, I knew he was play very defensive because he already died against my all-ins first game. So I saw him made like 6 cuts very lately. That I can go Surmos, then it's gonna be very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it worked out really, really well. You got a quick victory. And because you were playing during this match, so maybe you didn't see, but Clem actually ended up winning his series, so he already won, and it's now going to be your next opponent. I can see you're thrilled.
Yeah, he's the best Heron in the world, also the best player as a defense champion. But to win the championship, I must win him. Yeah, that's only my goal right now. Yeah.
All right, so your goal is you're not going to settle for anything besides winning.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. Do you have any kind of like offensive words for Clem before you face him? Anything to get in his head?
I know you're strong, but we don't know tomorrow who's gonna win. I think we didn't play yet, so please be a little bit afraid of me.
The most polite aggression I've ever heard. Thank you so much, Solar, and congratulations again on your victory. And we'll see you guys with the next match after a short break. Take care.
With Monday.com's intuitive work management platform, you have the power. Not IT, not admins. You're in charge. So you can tailor work exactly how you love to do it. For example, you can add custom fields and choose how you like to view your work without needing help from IT. That's why over 225,000 customers love to use Monday.com. Because you have the freedom to build it exactly how you picture it. The first work platform you'll love to use. Monday.com.
Welcome back, everyone, for the Esports World Cup B-Stream. We have got ourselves a real David versus Goliath match here. It is going to be Maru versus Trigger. And I gotta say, this is one of those matches where, well, going into it, we have a pretty expected favorite, but it's a good match for Protoss. Trigger's a very good player.
Are we already busting out the complaints about Protoss?
Wow, did I say?
We just saw Protoss lose, Dave. We just saw it.
All right, Ravi, tell me what you think about that.
I think that Protoss is going to have a good bit of favoritism. I think you're absolutely right. Maru is going to be coming into this as the favorite, but, and I know I have North America bias on this.
A little bit.
A little bit,
but
Ravi. I think Trigger actually has been continuing to play better and better and better, and I've been seeing that gradual rise in his performance at these offline events, especially in the early stages. I hope he can't hear me right now. He's definitely faltered a lot in like the earlier stages of events, but that's normal, right? Career-wise, Trigger only got into StarCraft 2 in like 2019 or something. So now kind of seeing him gradually build his way up, getting over those nerves, continuing to perform better and better until he did actually quite well at one of the more recent Home Story Cups. I actually feel like Trigger is in the best form, the best potential to take on someone like Amaru right now.
I'd actually totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. It's just the fact you're the one saying it, Ravi. There's a bit of me that's just like, this man, he will absolutely pump up any American when he gets the chance. But no, you're absolutely right. Like, Trigger's been on everybody's radar over the past few years, got picked up by Basilisk a good bit of time ago. But he's always been on that escalation. And
yes,
it doesn't really feel like it's been slowing down. And he has really been ramping it up. And it does feel like if he was a Protoss in the European scene, he'd be doing pretty damn well, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he's an American, he's been in the shadow of Estrella a little bit, but I feel at that time, and I know that it's a bit brutal to say, because I still think Estrella is the #1 American Protoss, but Trigger is looking fresh. It's just when you run into Maru first round of the tournament, it's not an easy opponent. Yes, he has the Protoss bit on his side, but within regards to an opponent, Maru is very, very scary to go up against. You're
absolutely right. And I just wanted to make a small mention that I went up to Trigger and I'm like, oh man, you're the last North American player. And he's like, well, yeah, but, you know, I'm like now at least equal with Estrella. He's like, wait, no, I'm better than Estrella now. Like, I'm definitively outperformed him already. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
Well, I mean, in terms of career trajectory, Estrella has turned two really, really important corners recently. Or, pardon me, Trigger has. Yeah, he beat Estrella in that North American Championship in the Grand Finals to qualify directly in, and that gave him this direct seed into the top 16. And then also at DreamHack Dallas, he had that amazing run where he got so close to making the playoffs against some really, really top-tier competition. Probably one of the most stacked open brackets we've had since the early MLG days. Like, we're literally talking about 2010, 2011. The last time we've had that much extreme talent packed into like a 128-player bracket. So for Trigger to show up and come so close against a player that we just saw kind of demolish Zaun, go 2-3 against him, I mean, that's gotta bode well for an offline tournament.
You're absolutely right. And when you say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Trigger does take a map here against Maru, like, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. It's just, Maru, he's the GOAT, Terran. He really is. And the thing is, we all know that he's gone through, like, injuries and stuff, but talking about that stat bracket, it was Maru the one that took the crown at the end of it. So even though Trigger did very well, we could talk about that he did do exceptionally well, even against Solar, which, you know, he made it incredibly far as well. It's just, this is one of the end bosses in the first round. It really is. And there's no other way to, like, paint around it. And you see the win rates here. They actually look relatively close. I would love to see their match history, though, because it can't be a huge amount of matches.
It's 0-6 in favor of Maru. Like, Trigger has really struggled. And I think that is where, as much as I want to give all my NA bias and everything, you're absolutely right, Ben. This is one of the gods of StarCraft right now. This is one of the legends. This is one of the contenders that people would put up as like a GOAT of StarCraft. And he is still looking really good off of his Dallas win. I know that GSL and everything, it didn't quite go his way. RSL and stuff has not quite gone his way. So I think there's maybe a little bit of vulnerability there that Trigger can potentially find. But Maru is, anyone that tells you Maru's not coming to this as a massive favorite is lying to you. And even I cannot lie to you that at least obviously.
Well, I mean, you could, but it would just, it would be very transparent. We would just, we'd be seeing right through you. You'd be a ghost on camera at that point. But, okay. I mean, this is such a lame duck question at this point. Predictions. Ravi, what do you think?
Okay. Despite what I said, I am actually going to predict, not that I think it's like the 100% most likely scenario, but I think that Trigger is going to win this 2-1. And I think that the games are going to be really close, but the other alternative reality that I think is possible is that it's like a 2-0 Maru stump and Trigger like kind of looks like he fumbles around a lot.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. The pressure of a first round opponent in Maru who is so willing to do the nastiest, filthiest cheeses to anyone. He doesn't care who you are. He's like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't know, I'll like throw a grenade at your computer or something. Like he just will do anything to win, as you should. Like that is what it takes to be a world champion or to be a player of Maru's caliber. And that kind of an almost devil-may-care attitude about how he plays makes him so much more intimidating.
And we already got to see like one of his good friends, Beyond, go up against Estrella. And like the first game, he kind of got, you know, smacked around a bit. But then he started whipping out these kind of gimmicky builds a little bit, and it really caught Estrella off guard. And I know that Estrella and Trigger, they are good pals, but they are the kind of players that they like to stick to their thing. And if you try and throw them off the rails a little bit, it can start to get quite rocky. And Maru, for me, ever since like 2015, he's been like a puppet master of a player. This is the big stage. He's had a lot of time to prepare. They both known who they're playing long time in advance. I think it's going to be really hard for Trigger. Like, if he wins a map, I won't be surprised, but I do expect Maru to take this 2-0.
Yeah, super fair. I think that one of the things about, and you kind of touched on this, Ben, one of the things about like these North American Protoss players, and I feel like even Neeb had this initially, where it's, as they're on the rise up, they're still kind of making their way toward the top with that upwards trajectory that you were talking about, Dave. There is still that period of vulnerability where they just falter in really silly seeming ways to these like more aggressive builds or more aggressive things, sometimes a little bit more gimmicky like you were saying, Ben. I feel like that is still a weakness that Trigger does have, and I think if Maru does opt to play that more aggressive, like out there, I'm just gonna clean you up really quickly, throw you off your game, and you know, finish you off, I think that Trigger will actually struggle more with that.
Yeah, well, I think it ultimately comes down to experience, right? Like it's such a simple thing, but it's a little bit more nuanced than just experience. It's experience with losing. You are used to being in a bad situation when you've played 100 offline tournaments. When you've played 5, 10 offline tournaments, you maybe aren't used to losing to 3 Proxy Marauders in a row, or to, I don't know, like a Marine SCV pull at like the 2.5-minute mark. Like you're not necessarily experienced in that, so you don't know what it is to feel that. But once you have felt that, all of a sudden that can create this fire in you, and you can be like, I don't want to feel that again. I'm going to get this guy. Obviously, we don't want to read too much into the player's mental, but ultimately the difference in experience between these two players could not be a vaster chasm.
No, you're right. And like, we can't call Trigger a newbie at this point, though, either.
No.
Like, he has been around for a good few
2019
years.
was last year, right?
No, I mean, he's definitely not a newbie. Like, he's one of the younger players in the circuit right now. But, right, I'm just checking out the body language of both these players. Like, Maru, obviously totally unfazed, just looks calm as ever. Trigger, sat up straight. He looks ready to go as well. It all comes down very much to the first game between these two, like very much. If Maru goes into it very normal, and Trigger can get a little bit of confidence going, because he's very good with Stalkers, very good at doing his build order and getting going. But if it isn't going to be like that, and everything falls apart, like you said, it could be a quick, swift 2-0. But I would not like to be in either one of these guys' shoes, because if you're Maru, everybody expects you to win this. Everybody expects you to floor it. That is often when me, as the favorite, I used to play my worst when people thought I was going to win. Trigger, everybody knows he's decent. Like, he's been here, there, and everywhere practicing, like over in Korea, Europe, you name it. The fact that he is going in with no pressure in that respect, came in as the #1 American seed, he's got a lot of pressure off his shoulders.
I think not only that, it's also worth keeping in mind that Trigger is going to come into this series, probably in this tournament, and say, okay, I just need to put everything, all my focus on Maru. Maru comes into this and says, all right, who are the big contenders? Because I want to win this entire tournament. Like, their focus is going to be a bit different. All right, well, it looks like, guys, the game is in fact ready. We are ready to move into map #1 here on Pylon of the group stages. We are up here in the top left-hand side of the map with the red Protoss player. He is Basilisk Trigger.
And representing Vitality with a heart rate far higher than what it looks like, it is the GOAT, Terran himself. It is Maru.
Maru feeling those nerves, man.
100, you know, you look at him, you're like, hey, that isn't 140 heart rate, is it? That's crazy. But you see these deep breaths, and now you kind of feel like you know what lies beneath. 150 already, the game's not even begun yet.
I know, it almost reminds me, you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? It's like Captain Holt, it's like you trying to appear his face, it's like anger, sadness, pressure, stress, and it's all the exact same face, but the heart rate does not lie. And I'm actually a little bit relieved also to see the Trigger's heart rate, you know, at like a 103, it's kind of like I'm a little bit elevated, but it doesn't seem like he'd be too anxious or something like that.
In before it's actually like switched, you know? It's actually Trigger that's like freaking out.
Get a defibrillator!
No, but this is going to be interesting. Trigger, he's being respectful here. Nice little probe scout. We'll keep this around to find out whether it's going to be a Reaper or a Marine. If a Marine pops out, you know the timing, and it's like, okay, I'm going to get away before this happens. And a factory, so he knows from this scout, most likely it's a double gas opening. Very safe opening by Maru, and respectful from him too. So a very, very respectful game on our hands so far.
Yeah, and I think one thing about this opening from Maru also is leading into what we were talking about earlier, that ability for the more experienced player to throw out something a little more aggressive and to kind of just force your opponent off their game plan. This is definitely one of those kind of openings that can do stuff like that with that faster factory.
It definitely can. The Reaper does show itself now. Gets to see, okay, it's a Nexus opening. That's nothing to worry about. It's exactly what I expected. Gets to see the Adept Shade as well, so he knows that's coming over the map, and it will be a Twilight Council opening. When I've seen Trigger play PvTs, I know he's been a Stalker boy. Now, I have no idea how much Maru really looks into what players do, but getting the Reaper early on, that's actually quite a nice big deal here. So first blood goes to Trigger.
Yeah, and now he's going to be very free to move out with both his Adept and his Stalker to the other side of the map. And I think you're absolutely right. Trigger is someone who loves those Blinky boys. He loves in general, I think, a lot of like early unit micro. He loves playing like micro tournament maps and things like that in his spare time. So not going to be a big surprise, but it is going to be interesting to see how effective it's going to be against someone like Maru. Cyclone already going to lock onto that Adept, and that Shade is way too late to save it.
Yeah, that was definitely not what he wanted with that Adept crossing the map. And it's going to be a Starport switching onto this Tech Lab.
Oh man, it really sucks that he ended up using that Adept or losing that Adept so early, because imagine if it had been able to shade forward or something, scout out the front, he could have maybe seen the Tech Lab being swapped on the Starport, reveal it a little bit.
This is super interesting, by the way. So he's getting the Medevac and the Raven upgrade over here. So most likely, is he just hoping that an Adept Shade comes up again, or the Sentry comes and scouts this and he's like, oh, wait a minute, are you doing Cloak Banshee? I feel like this is almost a bit of a fakey build here, but we'll see what he does after the Medevac pops out. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, he's already being a little bit cheeky with this.
Yeah, this is definitely really cute. I mean, it's not very often that I think a Protoss player will see the Medevac first and then the Banshee second. So this could actually just throw Trigger a little bit off of his game. If he sees this first Medevac, he says, okay, I dealt with it, starts moving out into the wrong position with his Stalkers, could be very unprepared for the Banshee. I do want to make a mention that there is a shield battery in that main mineral line. So one Banshee alone will not actually be the largest threat to the main.
It won't, but you can really tell that Maru was hoping he was going to get scouted with this. Like, he was hoping. And the fact that it's not come from Trigger, like, he just skipped the Sentry entirely, right, with his build. So, yeah, the mind games from Maru not truly paying off here, but I think did he cancel his first Banshee and then rebuilt it again? So I think, again, he does have it, but no Cloak on the go. So it's going to be a Cloakless Banshee opener. This is a good amount of units as well. No Tech Lab on the second barracks. This is going to be quite a spicy little push from him.
Yeah, but as you were kind of saying, the fact that there is no Tech Lab on that second barracks is going to mean that Maru really does have to get something done with this. This is something he is really committing to.
He is, and I mean, if he doesn't get too much done, I mean, it's not as if Trigger's third base is super darn early. Like, the fact he lost the Reaper early on meant he couldn't scout, but this push packs a punch, and I believe the third will start going up from Trigger right now. So that is almost like the absolute anti-timing for that to begin. Charge isn't even halfway done either, and this is actually like the first scout from Trigger finding out about this push. This arrived on his doorstep. This is not what he wants.
Yeah, he has 18 army supply to 43, and Immortal is going to be trying to pack a punch against some of these units, but the Siege Tank siege on up and immediately target fire down that Immortal. It already loses a lot of its shields and loses a bit of its hit points. Shield battery going down. Warp Gate also going to be under fire here, and I mean, Trigger doesn't even have his flood of 4 gateways finishing up over here, even losing that one Warp Gate, losing the power to the Robo. This is brutal. He's going to blink forward for the Siege Tank, finds one of them, the Widowmine finds the rest of them, and the probes are going down.
That Widowmine was lovely. That Immortal in the top there getting a lot of shots off, but Trigger's supply is plummeting. The lack of scouting really bit him in the bum here, and that is so much firepower left in the army of Maru, and this build from Trigger, this was just far too greedy, and Maru caught him out completely. Even that tank is going to get taken out by these two Stalkers, most likely, but no, and GG, salt in the wound. Maru takes a clean game one.
Really, really well done there by Maru. Really didn't have any major moments that he faltered. I mean, maybe you could say like the Reaper Scout or something, but he just felt like he was never really out of control in that game. And that exactly that kind of style of aggressive opening that forces your opponent to react to you in some way. And if you don't react perfectly, then that's exactly what happens. Trigger kind of gets bopped in that game.
I'm actually so surprised because Maru really expected a scout to come, like multiple times. You could see that with the way that he was playing and doing his upgrades, canceling them, starting them again. He was absolutely expecting a hallucination to come. It never came. So like the mind games going on there with the canceling just didn't happen. And it really felt like he thought, you know what, this guy hasn't scouted me at all. I know he's a blinky boy, if he's done any research, which I dare say he has, and that timing, it was a perfect timing to absolutely demolish his opponent. And Trigger, if he sticks with these kind of builds, because he is a guy that does like, you know, doing the thing. If you can get away with it, if you're not knocked off the track and you can get the game going, that's going to be great for you. But what Maru did here, setting the stage, doing something a little bit cheeky, but not that wild. Perfect opener.
Yeah, I really does beg the question. I really wonder if that was, like you were saying, almost like an adaptation of my opponent really is just not scouting me. Even my mind game like has not really seen the effect that I wanted. did he just kind of adapt a little bit of and say, like, I think I can just go for this attack, and he was not going to be prepared? Or if that was kind of his plan in the first place?
You never know with Maru, but like the fact that it happened and it literally didn't get spotted by the time it was at his base, like that's a crucial error from Trigger. And when it comes to the stage matches and playing against things that you don't play every day on the ladder or in your practice games, because that doesn't work against a lot of stuff, but the fact that the plan was to get scouted and then to do something, like, yeah, it worked out amazing for Maru. That build as well from Trigger, he had so few units, didn't even have like a Guardian Shield available because he never made a Sentry, skipped all those techs, like that would help against that massive Marines. Yeah, just caught with his pants down.
You know, I think the more I like even try and think about it, it's just one of those situations where I feel like when you're an underdog coming into a match, it is more common to try and take those kind of risks and everything. And that maybe does lead into the part of the reason why it is oftentimes the more experienced player that goes for the aggressive openings and just kind of naturally ends up finding ways to punish their opponent. But we are going to be up here in ley lines at the top right-hand side of the map on top of, once again, the red Protoss player from Basilisk. He is Trigger.
Yeah, didn't even get to remotely survive until Storm that game. Like, that was an absolute boppening. And spawning over in the bottom left as our blue Terran, it is Vitality's Maru. And Vitality, obviously, with a lot of hope for this man, given that they're already leading the club championships, if I'm not mistaken here. So, yeah, that would be huge for Vitality.
Yeah, and we do have an engineering bay block coming down from Vitality Maru. And important to note is if you guys heard in that opening video explaining the club championship and everything, you do actually, in order to win the club championship, you need to have someone win one of the games. And this is definitely a game that they have a player in that could very well be a world champion.
I think they actually won another title, actually. Maybe.
Oh, really? They've already done it?
Yeah,
oh,
so
wow.
I might be absolutely wrong here before I pour out all
Always
this
good to
wrong
have a
information.
backup, Ben.
But I do believe with the fact that they've got 1,200 points, you get like 1,000 per win.
Oh my God,
right?
you
So
get a massive bump from having a W. So.
I know they're definitely doing well. Anyhow. So Maru started off here with gas first, barracks, into an engineering bay block, means he will have a very fast factory. Now, this often follows up with a Hellion build, given that the third Nexus, quite far away, you are susceptible to a lot of aggro and a lot of pressure, given you have to move about quite a lot. But it's not an all-in build. It's just to make the Protoss life a little bit more uncomfortable and maybe to throw them off a little bit. I really like how honed in Maru is into this idea of, I'm going to play a tiny bit weird. Like, this is still meta stuff or stuff that has been meta in the past, but he's just going to go with it.
I think it's really smart, especially considering just the context of this match. We were talking about it before, but this is a match that both of these players, of all of the matches in this event, they get to prepare for the most. It is the first match that they had at least a week to prepare for. So what is the most likely match that you're going to have to play of StarCraft where your opponent has very specifically catered build selection and everything that you can just throw off ever so slightly by doing little things like an engineering bay block?
I like this from Trigger, though. He's putting pylons in positions where it's like, okay, I can see if you're coming from this direction, so at least I can react. We'll be going for the Twilight again, which I don't hate, actually. I mean, Twilight openings are absolutely the key in PvT these days. And
Sentry this time, though.
Exactly. Sentry will be able to actually scout. And against an opponent like Maru, you have to be aware of what he's doing. And you see, 4 Hellions now. Is he just going to try and bypass into the main? So this is already a little bit scary, but that Sentry, absolutely key there in defending here. So I loved this defense. This game is already 10 times better for Trigger, but 3 Hellions is still enough to one-shot, but 2, that is not enough with a shield battery. And you know what? That is the best start that you could hope for here.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if he lost a probe or... Okay, there's the second probe going down. We do see the little counter there. So 2 probes go down. One of them just actually, I think, one of the probes that are on the far left-hand side. So beautiful defense so far. And Trigger even splitting up his stalkers, so he even sees the Hellions darting their way back in and can get ready. Pulls the probes preemptively. Sentry, I thought maybe could be a target, but it's not a light tag unit anyways. So these Hellions, are they going to get into a dangerous spot? Ooh, they find one.
I tell you what, this is not the defense, though. He had Stalkers on the other side of the map, and they are going to be poking here. We do see the red light flashing and getting a little bit of eco damage done. I mean, Maru does have to respect this, but the damage done on the other side of the map, I'm not sure this is what Trigger wanted. The fact that he scouted that there was no bunker, I respect the effort, but still, there is going to be a tank out very soon, and that will put an end to this, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even Stim is actually getting close to finishing up, so he really has to be careful with these Stalkers. He's going to stick around for a little bit longer. Oh, boy. 12 seconds till Stim, and these Stalkers are going to be in a lot of trouble. Blink is still a ways away from finishing. One of the Stalkers does go down as the tank repositions itself. 6 workers in exchange for, I want to say, almost like the 12 or something.
Yeah, it was a good
Trigger
11,
lost.
yeah.
Yeah, that is going to be a bit rough, but it's still good that Trigger found some counter damage to the economy.
Yeah, I mean, the first 4 Hellions didn't do too much at all, you know, took out 2 of them, maybe 3rd, but then brought in another 4, and I tell you what, Trigger did not really anticipate that, I feel, and most errands don't really do that follow-up, but now we've got 3 barracks active. We got Stim done, combat shields on the go as well. It is a decently late starport out of Maru, so it's not as if he can be super active on the map. So this is now Trigger's time to be aggressive and do those things that he likes to do. Be a bit cheeky, blink done, exactly when this hallucination is done, gets to scout the tank, so getting in there, does he want to do that? I guess not, but
oh, man.
He's going to pick off the depot and get out of there, so free damage, free damage.
Yeah, I want to say that was actually such a close and scary blink because the siege tank was sieged up in the main, but it was just absolutely barely out of range of the very corner. And ooh, this is big. Trigger scouts out the move out timing here. He's going to even see the SCVs. That is so big. He wants to buy as much time as possible. Charge is miles and miles away from finishing at this point, or kilometers, depending on where you're from. But Trigger is a North American boy, and he is going to try and find little bits and pieces of damage here to try and buy time. Maru's not going to have any of it, though.
I misread this entirely. There's no starport even done in the main base of Maru, so he is just absolutely pulling everything here, and this is a mighty all-in. There are multiple sentries available. There's no Immortal out, which can help with the tanks and doing the soaking, but look at the firepower in the army. That is humongous, and this is a good position for Maru. I mean, one tank does fall pretty quickly, but that is so much Stim bio. But the thing is, it can't stay around forever. There's no medevac here, but that is a huge Artosis pylon there, charging up all of that tech and the shield batteries. Now, SCVs have fallen, but barely any of the army itself, and that army on the other side of the map has had to come back. The probes, they're not mining. This is getting real dicey.
This is getting so scary, but the probes are still alive and Charge is getting close to finishing. Is it possible for Trigger to sacrifice one of the bases and mount a defense once Charge actually finishes? Even +1 is getting closer and closer to finishing. I like the Trigger's pulling off some of the reinforcements, and here we go. Probes being pulled into the meat grinder. The Marines absolutely slaughtering them. The Stalker's also going down, and Trigger is at half the supply of his opponent. Into the main, Maru goes, stimming to death. He doesn't care because his opponent is going to be dead soon anyways.
I mean, he only had 3 gateways active, so even if you have charge lots, GG is called. Maru, in swift, decisive fashion, takes a 2-0 here. And I tell you what, he did not play totally normal at all, but he absolutely played in a way, and I talked about it before. I feel like I'm sort of in the same wavelength with Maru here. There's like against a lesser experienced player, but still an experienced player, but he knows what he likes to do. If you catch him off guard, throw him off the track a little bit, yeah, he made short work of Trigger, and that, I mean, this is one of the hardest opponents to go up against in the tournament. So, you know, Trigger shouldn't go away with his head too far down. He is still in the tournament. There is still that lower bracket to talk about, but the favorite did go ahead.
No, I think that's definitely a good way of summing it up, and it's tough. Even the lower bracket is still going to be a tough place when you just have so many world champions basically in this event. But I think he's going to have a nice fighting chance in that lower bracket. This is here game number 1 where we saw that big old push in that Trigger just did not really see coming. And, you know, I think this was a good kind of like warm-up game for Trigger because I definitely felt like, you know, we were talking about in game number 2, he looked like he was playing a lot better. He was able to adjust and like, okay, I'm going to go for the Lucene Phoenix, Sentry, Scouts, and everything. But even just his defense against the early Hellions initially looked really good. It almost makes me wonder a little bit, Ben, how could game 2 have looked if he had been able to continue that defense, if he didn't end up losing so many workers?
I think one thing that, if I look back on him, like, what could he have done differently? Just having those 2 stalkers or 3 stalkers that he sent across the map to deal the damage.
I
if
think
they stayed behind, I don't think it'd have taken even remotely as much damage. And yeah, scouting this, not seeing a starport, like I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking about this, but it was a weird game to call. Like,
Yeah.
this was weird from Maru. So
It was.
I don't hate the fact that Trigger did what he did. It's just Maru's very good.
It really is tough. But guys, I think we are going to be hearing from our champion from that last game, Maru. Let's hear from him on the stage.
Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Maru, who just dispatched his opponent very quickly and decisively. That was very impressive. Congratulations. I got to ask, how do you feel coming into this tournament physically? How are you feeling about your condition?
일단 조성주 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 일단 첫 번째 질문은 오늘 좀 경기력 되게 좋아 보이시는데 오늘 좀 컨디션이 좀 어떠신지 궁금합니다.
일단 오늘 잠을 잘 자가지고 컨디션은 좀 괜찮았던 것 같고 또 생각한 대로 경기가 풀려가지고 다행인 것 같습니다.
Yeah, I had a plenty of sleep, good sleep, so I'm feeling very well. And also, I think I played what I planned to do, so I think that went well. So, yeah, I'm feeling really good about it.
That's good. You looked good. You looked decisive. You have been employing a little bit of trickery in your play, maybe even more than normal. Do you feel like you have to be a little bit more tricky against Protoss these days to win TVP? Or is that just something you're coming in with some special stuff right now?
이제 방금 경기도 그렇고 뭔가 좀 되게 공격적이고 뭔가 좀 되게 치즈스러운 조금 변수 플레이 좀 많이 섞으시는 것 같은데 좀 토스 상대로는 좀 이렇게 해야 좀 이길 수 있다라고 좀 개인적으로 생각을 하시는 건지 아니면은 그냥 좀 본인의 그냥 스타일을 좀 뽐내시는 건지 궁금합니다.
딱히 그런 건 아닌데 트리거 선수 맞춤식으로 준비했어가지고 그래서 그랬던 것 같습니다.
Well, it's not my particular style. It's just like I have prepared this particular style against Trigger, so I think that won't work pretty well.
Yeah, it worked extremely well. He was caught off guard both times, it felt like. Now, you seem to do really, really well when Terran is struggling a little bit. Do you feel like you get a little bit of a power-up when you're kind of the Terran champion? When you're the champion of Terran, the one Terran that stands above them all? Do you feel stronger?
이제 뭔가 지금 테란의 마지막 좀 기둥, 마지막 희망 같은 그런 지금 느낌이시거든요. 뭐 테란이 어려울 때마다 항상 조성주 선수가 또 좋은 성적 내시고 활약을 하시다 보니까 좀 그런 부분에 대해서 좀 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
지금 테란이 어렵기도 하고 저 토스전이 별로 안 좋다고 생각하는데 그래도 최선을 다해서 높이 올라가 보겠습니다.
Yeah, I do feel that Terran is struggling, especially against Protoss. So I'll do my best to soar high as much as possible.
Yeah, I think we're going to see you do very well in this tournament. One last question before we send it back over. What would it mean for you to win EWC for Vitality with them already doing so well in the club championship? You could really cement a very top finish for you for Team Vitality. What would it mean for that?
이제 바이탈리티가 마침 또 클럽 챔피언십에서 지금 상위권을 달리고 있기 때문에 조성주 선수가 이번 EWC에서 우승을 한다면 정말 큰 도움이 될 것 같은데 특히나 리드를 정말 크게 지킬 수 있을 것 같거든요. 그래서 본인에게 있어 좀 EWC 우승이 좀 어떻게 의미로 다가오시는지 어떤 의미로 다가오시는지 궁금합니다.
일단 개인적으로도 우승하면은 너무 좋겠지만 팀적으로도 우승하면 굉장한 도움을 주는 것 같기 때문에 또 그렇게 돼서 더 좋은 것 같아요. 이렇게는 꼭 우승하고 싶습니다.
Yeah, I feel it'll feel really good for myself as well if I win, but also having to contribute immensely for the team will be a much greater feeling for me as well. So yeah, I really want to win.
Well, that is great to hear. We'd love to see you be the hero of this tournament for your team and, of course, for yourself. This was Maru, of course, taking a very decisive first-round victory. I'm Steadfast, and we will go to a quick break. We'll be back after this.
Carrier, the Air Authority.
Hey guys, I'm Showtime. I'm with here with Sarah, and we're going to play a game of Pictionary. You want to start?
Sure, I can start, whatever.
Go ahead and...
All right, it's pretty long text already here. Okay, then let's see. Fair. Should be pretty easy.
Looking forward to it.
So,
Was that heartbeat?
this is very good drawing. All right. What are the guesses?
I have no clue so far.
Come on, man, this is so
So
obvious.
it's like a snake in the middle, it's like some, I don't know.
This is like the most obvious drawing of all time.
I have no clue. Wait, okay, let me think. So it's like some StarCraft unit, probably. So it's like what, a drone in the middle.
All right, here's my drawing.
I have no clue, man.
This is very good.
I don't know.
You know the final guess or anything?
I have no final guess. I think it's like it looks like a drone, and there's like 2 crowns next to it, and then the other stuff is
Yeah, I
like...
mean, it's pretty close already, no?
Yeah?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, I give up.
So this is like the desert. So this is like in Riyadh,
Okay, yeah.
and this is a command center.
A command center?
A command center in Riyadh.
What is this supposed to be?
These are like the mineral fields.
Oh my god, okay.
That's pretty obvious.
I mean, there's no shot at getting that one.
All right.
That's my turn, I guess.
How do I wipe it? Oh, it's a sponge. I'm pretty good at guessing.
How does it even look like? I don't know. Okay, there's no shot you're guessing it. You might guess the unit, I think.
Well, it's a void tray
Yeah?
on top of void tray on
I mean,
Mars.
No.
I'm pretty good at guessing.
I mean,
On top of Riyadh.
no. It was a Voyager being filmed by Steve Irwin, but no clue, to be honest. I look this way.
Alright, if you don't get this one, it's game over, I think.
Alright.
Alright, let's do this again.
Not a good start. Eiffel Tower. Colossus attacking Eiffel Tower.
That's good enough.
Good enough?
Yeah, I think that's good enough. It was... The Colossus burning down the Eiffel Tower.
Burning. Where are the flames?
Well, I didn't get that far yet.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Come on, give me like something doable. Okay, you can.
Alright. Bailing in a house.
That's not a bailing.
You can't tell me everything.
Come on, what does it look like?
A coast.
Yeah. Is it obvious?
Is it obvious? No, it's not obvious.
Really?
That's a
Yeah. It's all I got.
coast academy.
I mean, you got that part right. Okay. It was it was a ghost in a haunted house. Like, this is a house. I thought the ghost a bit too big. I wanted to do like tombstones, but I didn't know how the tombstones work.
Oh, those are tombstones?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're like, they have like a round top tombstones.
Round? Not all of them.
Well, not all of them, but I think if you throw it and it's...
I didn't know how to make it haunted.
Yeah, that I don't know if that's very haunted.
Yeah, that's true. But a ghost in house, come on, it has to be good.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I can do that.
Are you getting all the easy ones?
Come on, man, that was pretty easy. I was just making it complicated. All right, this was my picture. It was half good, but...
It looks like a spying drone, but I don't know what the rest is.
You don't know any... You know final guess?
No, I had no clue.
Well, like, obviously you can't get it completely correct with this photo, but
What was it?
well, this was a Mutalisk, obviously.
A Mutalisk?
That's how Mutalisk looks like. It's like a J with wings. No, it's a J with wings. But it was in a sauna. But the sauna
Okay.
is like half done, So.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, I thought it was a spine crawler, to be honest. Or like a spore crawler. Like, do they actually have like this?
Doesn't really. Yeah, it's a J with wings.
But it should be the other way, no? Isn't it like straight and then at the bottom it like shoots the stuff? Oh, it's from your perspective. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, you're watching it like this way?
Yeah.
Should I do it? I guess maybe I should.
And now, okay, now it makes more sense, yeah. To me it looks like a spine crawler or a spore crawler.
You're watching it from a different perspective.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
All right, that was Pictionary with Sarah and me. I think we did a somewhat decent job. And yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists, only on Spotify, the official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
Hello, guys and girls. Welcome back to the Esports World Cup StarCraft 2. And here I am, Liquid Demo, joined by my good friends Fear Dragon and Steadfast. And here, the first match, or rather the first match that I get to host over here, it is going to be a real clash of awesome, I feel. So I want your guys' thoughts about this one.
Oh man, this is gonna be a funky one. Cause okay, Dave, I already told Demu this fact, so you get to ask it. How many times, as we have this next match of, Serral versus Hero Marine, how many times do you think these two players have played in the last 2 years?
In the last 2 years,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be something funny like 0 times, isn't it?
It is 0 times.
It's 0 times, okay.
I looked at them, I'm like, wait, that can't be right.
I was trying to think back,
surely they played.
Yeah, they haven't run into each other.
They have not run into each other. But of the times that they have run into each other in the past, Gabe has only won 4 of the times of out of 26 or 27. The number now eludes me because we of course turned the cameras on. But it has been a rough matchup for Gabe.
Absolutely. I mean, Gabe, for a long time, he was called the Gatekeeper. He was very good on Mondays, but all the tournaments ran on the weekends, and it was very unfortunate timing for him. But then came a time where it's like Gabe turned to a big game player. Katowice came top 4, almost knocked out Raynor, going 2-0. He's done well. I think at a previous EWC, he also did very decently. And I mean, getting out of that play-in stage in the way that he did, where, he was looking real grim. It was 0-2 against Lambo, 0-1 against Estrella, but he clawed his way back, and then he ended up beating Lambo. So very impressive by him. His momentum on his side a little bit here. I mean, Serral, for me, is very much a final boss. I mean, we're getting a few of those over here on the B stream, but yeah, it's obviously going to be very rough for him.
Yeah, I think so too. But we do have to point back to one of the matches that Maru actually beat Serral in was to knock him out of one of the EU regionals. And I remember that was a big one too, because I'm pretty sure it was that specific match that qualified you into a guaranteed spot in the tournament. And it ended up with this situation where Serral had to play through an open bracket. And we were like, wait, what? No, somebody hit the wrong button on the Matrix. This is not right. This isn't supposed to happen. But Big Gabe came in. I remember that game 5 so clearly. It was, I want to say it was on 2000 Atmos. It was a Hellbat Marauder push off 3 CCs. He caught 3 of his opponent's queens with the concussive shells Marauders. They were stranded at the third base. And from there, he just kind of snowballed, kept shoving Hellbats, Marauders at his opponent. And it was a stunning upset. Let's see if Hero Marine can channel some of that magic once again, because we have him spawning down in the bottom left for Mao Sports. It is Hero Marine.
And his opponent up here in the top right-hand side of the map, most people's undisputed GOAT of StarCraft 2. It is Basilisk's Cyril.
And you know he wants to get this World Championship back. You know, last year, yeah, he got to the Grand Finals, but he cannot have been happy with how that ended. He is definitely not going to be happy with anything short of a championship this time.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, he's not necessarily going to be the saddest about facing Gabe in this first round, because there were definitely some potential opponents and stuff. I think Bjorn would have been also like a pretty tough match and everything. I actually think Lambo has some pretty cool upset potential as well against Cyril, and like the pass, as well as just ZVZ being a kind of funky matchup sometimes. And even, I think Estrella probably would have been like an okay matchup for Cyril, but I do think Gabe is one of the matchups that, again, just historically, Cyril has typically had Hero Marine's number. Even the match that you were talking about, that was 3 years ago, and like 3 years and a month ago now. And it's the last time that Gabe managed to win a series against Cyril. This is still going to be a very tough match for Gabe.
Oh, it's going to be an extremely tough one. But I got to mention a couple of things. One, best of 3. You don't have to come out with 3 different map wins. You can squeeze 2 in. Ultralove is the map. This is an incredibly strong 8-racks map. And that is something that Big Gabe at Hero Marine loves to do.
Have we been seeing a lot of 8-racks in TVZ lately?
Have we? I haven't been keeping track.
I haven't noticed.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of 8-racks in TVZ, and it's because it is so powerful. With the, you know, the Baneling a little bit lower on HP, Cyril will morph that Spore Crawler. He is going to get the save on the drone. You can see he was even trying to see if he could maybe get away with not morphing it, but he plays it safe and manages to keep everything alive. I mean, I know that back in the day that used to be a given, but players have gotten so good with their Reapers. It is not a given anymore that you don't lose a Ling, you don't lose a drone.
Yeah, it definitely can happen here and there. And I guess to go back to and add to your list, I think Cyril, I do believe right now, is one of the most beatable forms of Cyril we've seen in the last like 5 or 6 years at this point. I think that Cyril has shown some vulnerability in some of those things, like RSL and all, like, I think just some of the recent events, Cyril has not done quite as well. Maybe not RSL. That's not the correct tournament that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny that you say he's vulnerable because he lost 4-5 at Stars Agora to Clem.
Yeah.
And he came
How did his Dallas
8
go?
At Dallas, yeah, losing 2-3 to Classic.
I would say top 8 for Cyril. Our expectations of Cyril, that was an upset.
It absolutely was, but that's the caliber of player we have.
Yes.
It is an upset when he doesn't win that massive tournament, you know? Not even getting top 2. We expect out of him at this point. That's a poor result, quote unquote, for Cyril. Obviously still an amazing result. But we got to talk about this because we have a perfect transition from that last series into this one. We've got Gabe opening the series with a Hellbat Marauder. Cyril has opened up with a Roach Warren. This is very good on paper for the Finnish Phenom, but he still needs to see it coming.
Yeah, and this is something that we don't really see a lot of Terrans do as much these days, so I am so interested to see when Cyril's going to catch wind of this. Right now, Cyril's just kind of forcing out more roaches. He's adding on a couple more drones here or there. He definitely senses something is going to be coming that he has to have some defenses for, because that is like a fair number of roaches he's already made. And even though the Overlord doesn't make its way into the main base, it doesn't actually get the scout off. Is he actually going to be prepared for this?
Yeah, what makes this still so dangerous for Cyril is that if you don't see it coming, you're just building those safety roaches. And as long as you're careful, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but these queens, I talked about it before, the 3 queens getting separated at the third base. This is looking a little bit scary for Cyril, but he will pull back there. He's not going to get marooned. This will be his first look at this attack. These roaches are going to try and bunch up around this base. Hellions are going to morph immediately into those Hellbats. Queens not able to target down the medevac right away. Already a lot of damage coming in from Big Gabe, and he's got a lot of firepower here.
Yeah, a lot of the Hellbats are starting to fall on that bottom right-hand side. The north side Hellbats are managing to survive. Drones being pulled off the line and are getting roasted and toasted. But at the end of the day, Cyril is going to be able to push this back and still does maintain a slight drone lead. Was that too much damage, Dave?
Nope. No, I think that was good damage for Big Gabe. Don't get me wrong, but that was a relatively strongly committed push. Is it a nice push for Big Gabe? Does it put him in a good position? I would say probably yes, as long as he keeps these units alive. But did it give him a winning position? Not necessarily. And this is really interesting. He started up, Stim canceled it, and is now throwing down 2 more factories. Oh, my man loves his mech, doesn't he?
Okay, it is going to, in fact, be mech, like you were saying, and I think as our wonderful observer Insano was actually showing us, there's no upgrades right now for Cero, no Zergling speed or anything else. We do have Carapace now starting on up over here. A Slowling being slowed even more by Custom Shells. Not something you see all that often, but this is going to be an important thing for Cyril to eventually scout, because he missed the scout on the initial attack and everything, but now coming in with the factories.
Can we get a look at Cyril's vision of Hero Marine's main base? I want to see if he's got any idea. Okay, he has seen nothing. I wanted to make sure. So Hero Marine maybe just kind of changed his mind about going into Stim, said, you know what, I actually do want Battle Mech behind this. I feel good about that. Something we got to point out, very different from the series from before, as that is a big scout for Cyril. Very, very crucial scout. Gets to see the timing of the 4th and 5th factory as well. Hold that thought. Hellion run by at the 3rd base.
Yeah, not that many roaches over here either. There's only 4 of them, but they do manage to do enough body blocking. An interesting decision for Hero Marine to try and go down the ramp instead of going after the drones that looked like they were still pretty vulnerable.
No, they didn't look like it. Those drones were on a frying pan with Hero Marine's hand on the button. Those drones were all but roasted. And for wow, that was a... maybe he thought that Cyril was going to drop down a clutch Evo chamber block. Lambo did that a bunch. You know what? Lambo might have actually made him a little gun shy to go in there.
Yeah, maybe.
That's possible.
Well, either way, Hero Marine doesn't really get the damage done with that kind of little run by. Ends up losing a few Hellions and a solid defense there for Cyril as he gets his own tech up. Is starting to add on even more roaches as that Carapace upgrade is finished. You got Burrow is also finishing along with Tunneling Claws. That is going to be a recipe for disaster if Hero Marine is caught off guard by that, because we have seen in the past how good Cyril is with Burrow roaches.
Not just that, this is a game where, unlike that series versus Lambo, he doesn't have speed Banshees. He doesn't have an easy mobile answer to these units that are going to be everywhere. We are going to see an attack coming in here. Cyril getting in from 2 angles, getting on top of the tanks on the bottom side, able to take 1 down. Second one going to be biled down. A 3rd one in the mineral line will survive for a while to get a lot of DPS here, and that will allow Hero Marine to get those 2 more crucial tanks in to secure the position. But that was already a little bit of a bloody nose on Hero Marine there. And Cyril is just starting with this aggression.
Yeah, he did lose a lot of his roaches, so he does need a little bit of extra time to kind of pull back. And
he has Burrow, right?
He has Burrow, and he is about to finish up Tunneling Claws, so I think that's maybe what he's waiting on right now.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be the big window of opportunity. Nice reaction there from Hero Marine. Gets the medevac out there in time. But here we go. He comes in for round number 2. Bottom side and north side. Goth going to be coming on in. Tunneling Cloud Roaches, though, not revealed by that sensor tower.
No, they are not. He doesn't see it. The Tunneling Claws Roaches are coming. They are coming. It is Jaws right now. And he is about to clamp down on the SCV lines of Hero Marine.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to attack in with that north side force right now because he knows he's just getting so much damage done. Already 13 workers and still continuing to fall. Hero Marine falling below 60 at this point. This is I mean, the worker counts really do just show the difference of 82 versus 60 workers right now.
Yeah, and this is an issue. He doesn't have scan energy all the time. Now Cyril goes in, finds the exposed tanks on the front line, gets to them very quickly. Ling's going to get into the mineral line at the 3rd. No repair on that siege tank. It goes down. SCVs are falling en masse. This is a great attack from Cyril. He punches his opponent a couple times, knocks him off balance, and throws him through the ceiling.
And there it is. GG gets called, and Serral is going to take the first game against Big Gabe. Big Gabe may be the massive gargantuan Gabe that we know, but it is in fact still Serral that is the Goliath that has to be toppled here. And he showed exactly why. He, despite not having a lot of like scouting against the early Hellbat, Marauder aggression, everything, still managed to defend that well enough. Got the scout out on mech and just had such a great reaction for it.
Yeah, I mean, the safety roaches, they did their job. They kept him safe. Yeah, he took some damage. Yeah, it was, you know, not ideal, but HeroMarine kind of waffled a little bit with his transition decision. He decided, after committing to Stim being built for a while, then to go into mech. Might have been a mind game, we don't know, because there was no Overlord, so you can't really confirm. But regardless, it is Serral who makes that look unbelievably easy. And I can tell you, playing against Cyclones as much as I have, it's not that easy. That's just how good Unisatala is.
It really is. It's tough. It's so tough now to come back after that second game or that first game into the second match. Going into game number 2, and I feel like game number 1 was, unless you just outright kill Serral or something with that early attack, that was like a pretty good place to move into a later stage of the game. And Serral still looks so good and dominant. If HeroMarine can't find like an early advantage in game number 2, like how on earth are you supposed to beat Serral moving to that mid game?
Well, that's the
yeah
$700,000 question, isn't it?
That is true.
We had it answered last year by Lisan Al Gaib, the Frenchman, the Clem that was promised. But I mean, will we see that again this year? Too early to tell. For now, we have this man down 1-0 in the series. Can he bring it back, force that game 3 against Goliath? It is mousesports HeroMarine.
And down here in the bottom left-hand side of the map, with an interestingly dropping heart rate. It was 94 a second ago, and now it's 86. We have Basilisk Serral. Just getting more calmer and calmer by the second, by the minute. This man already feels victory in his clutches.
Yeah, you know, I can read into this. I can read into this. So he was out of a game of StarCraft for moments there, getting nearly 2 minutes without being in a video game, and he started to get a little anxious. Got all the way up to 95 or something.
Yeah,
but
you know,
now
my
that he's
parents
back
would
in,
say that would be like an addiction or a problem or something, but since Serral is winning so much money, my parents would actually be like, no, it's a profession.
Just gonna leave that one alone.
Just gonna leave my Asian parents, you know, they're asleep right now, so.
Shout out to the Periques, yeah. We are gonna be seeing a command center first as we just roll right past that. Like this will roll HeroMarine into the mid game with a nice economic boon.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance of that happening without any major interruptions, at least for the time being. But I will say, despite that, we have definitely been seeing more and more Zerg players show that they're not afraid to go super aggressive with those Roach Ravager all-ins and everything. So I'm actually so curious if that is something that Serral is kind of considering doing either this game, or if it went to a game 3, he would consider doing something like that, because he has just been mixing in more and more of those.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Zerg players really bust out those nasty strats as we get into the tournament, really try and fool some of these Terran players. We do see quite an interesting build right here out of Serral, or pardon me, out of HeroMarine. It is Command Center first, into Gas, into Barracks Gas, into Marine, then Reaper, and a turbo fast 3rd CC. If we were talking about some kind of early Roach push, And I'm talking real early, like stuff we legitimately don't see anymore.
Yeah.
Hero Marine is going to have a heck of a time dealing with it. But that's the beauty of it. We don't see stuff like the 12-pool Roach Ravager anymore. We don't see, you know, the 9 Roach build out of Lambo, really. It's just not a thing these days. But Hero Marine, as a result of this, he's going to have a flying economy and a pretty strong set of Marine pushes.
Yeah, what is Cyril up to? He mined the 100 gas. And
he's just cutting it because he knows that he doesn't need it.
Yeah, okay. Just got that gas banked up for a rainy day when he decides that he, in fact, wants it. And I mean, he definitely does not need it against the opening that Hero Marine is going for. There's nothing to be afraid of for a little bit. Looks like First Blood being given there to Hero Marine as well. But Roach Warren being added on around like 3:30 or so. So, what do you make of this?
Well, this is actually very similar to what he did in the previous game. This is a really interesting little setup from Cyril here because he gives himself the ability to start Ling speed if he so desires, but he doesn't have to go for it. In theory, he could even build a quick layer if he wanted to. Now, we're not going to see that just yet, but this might legitimately be a setup for later stages in the tournament. Some kind of weird Ling Nidus play, something like that. Here's the beauty of what I just said. If it doesn't come to pass, people will forget this. If it does, I look like a genius, man.
Clip it, guys, and make sure to post it regardless of the results.
No, wait.
We do have, it just looks like more drones being added on for Cyril, so he is not looking to bust out a ton of early roaches or anything with the roach one that finished up, adds on his lair and says, no, I'm actually pretty safe right now. The Reaper is only just now going to be making its way across the map, and there's not even speedlings or anything really to slow this down. It's just going to be queens to try and push this Reaper back, which is not enough to kill a creep tumor.
Yeah, no, that's going to be just fine. Now, Cyril did kind of sit on a fair amount of gas before and even minerals, before he started up that layer. So maybe a small, very small little macro misstep there from Cyril, kind of uncommon. But more so than anything, the focus right now is the fact that this has been a pretty middle-of-the-road build from Cyril. And Hero Marine has gotten away with an extraordinary amount of greed. And it is really setting up well into the mid-game. He is going to have that single engineering bay. This is a neat little play. Lifted third command center. It's still going to land faster than normal because it was so fast. I really like how this is turning out so far for Hero Marine, but he is still not at a victory point yet.
Yeah, I think this is actually leading a little bit into my question earlier. How does Gabe manage to make game number 2 look a little bit better if he doesn't open up with some kind of advantage? And it definitely feels like he's found his little economic advantage they can move into the game with.
Well, you know, you teed it up perfectly, Rubby. He's going straight into the 8 racks here.
Yep.
This, I'm not 100% sure on the timings, but this feels like one of the fastest 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks I think I've ever seen at this level. It's going to hit with +1, not the regular 1-1 we're used to. Cyril does start up an Infestation Pit, a Baneling Nest, a second Evo Chamber, a 4th base. These are all things that are not a bridge too far, but he is going to have to be very, very mindful that he doesn't get caught out by what is going to be a really strong, sustained push, because there's just going to be so many Marines marching across the map.
There really are, and you can already see the Hero Marine is kind of posturing at the edge of creep, looking to try and snipe off a couple of creep tumors. The Queens have already pulled back at this point. So
this build is nuts.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the timer, and I do not believe my eyes right now. This is insanity.
This
of Hero Marine.
Scary. This is definitely very scary. Ooh, okay, Overseer's not going to catch a wind of these Marines. The double medevac drop of them are going to be heading down to the south side, and they should find a very vulnerable hatchery over here. Baneling has finished up only very recently. I don't think any Banelings are morphed in, and hatchery is just going to end up falling. That is already a big W for a Big Gabe.
Huge W for Big Gabe. And behind this, Cyril starts up his hive. He fires up a couple more drones. He doesn't yet know what is coming behind this. Overseer is going to try and scout in and should eventually see these 3 additional barracks, but this is already so uncomfortable. Now, the interesting thing about this is, does Hero Marine try to transition out of this, or does he just go for the kill? I feel like if he played macro out of this, it'd be really strong, but look at the army supply right now.
Yeah.
He's already up 30 army supply against a player going Roach Ravager, and it's such a potent build. Why would you not try and kill Cyril if you can?
Yeah, it's just so scary, though, because after you signed off the 4th, like you were saying, Cero is just investing more into his army, is getting up the hive tech. He's basically just saying, I'm going to make my army the strongest possible. So do you really attack it as someone that is saying, all of my resources are going into having a scarier army, not an economy, an army?
I mean, it's the build. It looks like he wants to commit to it. Big Gabe does eat a bile on 3 of his medevacs, but he gets the Marines through. Bailey's getting caught by the roaches. Siege tank will get sniped down very quickly. It was an attempted flank from Cyril. Actually looks like he maybe wanted to cut off some reinforcements, but things getting a little bit funky there. Queen is going to get caught out here. A lot of creep already getting cleaned up. I cannot imagine a world where Cyril has faced this exact push before.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very difficult for him. He's going to have to react on the fly a little bit here. Creep is actually not fully cleaned up over here, so maybe this is going to be Cyril's best opportunity, but he decides, no, I cannot defend this location again. Has to back up, pulls back in. Bailey's getting caught behind the roaches and ravagers yet again, but the hatchery ends up falling, and Cyril is dipping further and further down in supply, and that's with roaches also a part of this.
That it is. The Marine count is so damn high. Corrosive Biles, though, he's got to get out of those. They are landing home pretty hard. That was a lot of Marines that just fell. Medevacs, there's still a lot of them, but they're not super high on juice. Bailing's trying to roll in. They do connect with some of these units. Siege tanks were not sieged up, and just like that, the army gets dissolved on creep, and Hero Marine is forced away. He got too impatient, and he loses so much of his momentum.
This is so complicated now because he managed to snipe off the 4th base of Cyril twice. He killed off a lot of the army supply, but he does not have an armory finish up. He doesn't have 2-2 upgrades on the way. He doesn't have a lot of the other transitionary stuff you need. So he's kind of forced to continue finding some waves of aggression here, but losing medevacs to some of these corrosive biles, losing even more medevacs to the corrosive biles as he does try and dive in on top of these ravagers. But Cyril looks like he's taking better and better and better fights as time goes on.
He absolutely is. Even if he loses this 4th base for now the 3rd time, I just wonder at what could have been. This is going to be a nice interception on the reinforcements here by Cyril. He's got a hive done. He started up Adrenal Glands. He's got the upgrade lead, picking off Marines. He lost like, what, 3 lings there and got 4 or 5 Marines, 6 Marines. We are going to be seeing Hero Marine not committing hard in on that 4th base just yet. Going to try and regain some of the momentum that he had. But this, if this goes on to be a Cyril victory, this is going to look, we're going to look back at this as one of the missed opportunities of this tournament.
No, it definitely is if that ends up being the case. But, I mean, this is just, again, it's Cyril. It's what happens when a lot of people face him is that Cyril can be at a bit of a deficit sometimes in the early game stages, and he finds ways to turn things around sometimes. But Gabe is going to be really still just trying to find some opportunity to try and find an advantage again.
Yeah, I mean, he started up his 2-2. He's pumping double factory tank now. He is still committing on just 3 bases, even harder than before. Vipers are going to be hitting the field, though. Adrenal Glands is done. +2 melee's getting close to completing. Very good positioning right there from Cyril on the bottom side. Not going to fall victim to that technically really just double drop. And even now, +3 Carapace fired up. This is looking so good for Cyril.
And now it's like an anti-timing because 1-1 is still there for Hero Marine. 2-2 is not done yet for him. 2-2 just finished up for Cyril. So Cyril is actually going to be fighting this army with the upgraded advantage because Hero Marine just has to go, go, go. Cyril is maybe considering that he was going to evacuate, goes for a little bit of engagement there, but says, no, I don't actually need that hatchery, even though I've lost many hatcheries this game. I'm actually okay with waiting things out, making sure my Vipers have the energy. Isn't going to lose this hatchery, though. Gets very close, but does manage to survive. Needs some transfuses on that, but this is it. If Cyril could just clean up this army with the Vipers and the Blinding Clouds, he is going to be golden.
Yeah, but that's a deep, deep army right here. Hero Marine is being a lot more cautious than he was. He's not going too far onto creep just yet, but Cyril is going to look to pull the trigger here. 2-2 just not done. Blinding Clouds on 2 of the tanks. 3rd one getting biled from the high ground. It goes down. The reinforcements of Hero Marine are not in time to turn the fight. 2-2 finishes up just a little late. The reinforcements show up a little late, and it is just a day late and a dollar short, to quote the great Kevin Rotterdam Vanderkoy.
It's brutal. It's brutal to watch. So much of the army supply of Hero Marine is literally just in medevacs now as well. It is almost deceptive, the fact that Hero Marine has an even-ish supply with Serral. But Serral, he does still have that low hit point hatchery. He has still been losing those hatcheries constantly over and over and over again. I think it's finally been actually, you know, healed up a little bit. And I think you're actually showing me right now that, yes, Gabe has in fact also been floating over his command centers for his bases. For a 4th base, this is not the ideal economic spot for either of them.
No, and the thing that is keeping Hero Marine in this game, we're talking like it's over. It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
The thing that's keeping Hero Marine in this game is that he has been sniping bases. That base on the top left that is alive now with like 250 HP, that goes down if it's not for the upgrade advantage that Serral has and the adrenal glands. It's those things combined. It was at 94 HP, maybe even 1 or 2 hit points lower. And you add a couple extra seconds of those Marines being alive. It's a completely different story. We are going to see this base on the top left being protected. Meanwhile, the main push towards the now 5th base attempt of Serral is going to be sieged for the 5th time this game?
I was going to say, like, are you saying 5th base because this is 5th attempt or 5th time trying to take this base? Either way, it looks like Serral is going to be able to clean up the forces at the front lines. Blinding Cloud's also coming down on top of these siege tanks as well. Ling swarming on forward, and Marines just falling so quickly in numbers. It looks like this is going to be a cleanup here for Serral, but his supply is actually on the relatively low side. Reinforcements coming in here for Hero Marine. Are they going to be able to turn the tide of things?
Yeah, there's nothing to protect those Ravagers right now, and those Ravagers do not have +1 missile. They are on 0-3, which is a really funny upgrade situation for them. Snipe on the base. Nice Corrosive Owl takes down the Widowmine, but these units will stand and fight for the moment. It's 2-2 for Big Game still, but on the other side of the map, that SCV line at the 3rd getting absolutely gutted by a small Ling run by, and those Cracklings are feasting.
They are doing so phenomenal right now, killing additional workers here, even
my
pulling
God.
all these SCVs off of fighting. 3-2 Lings. Do not go down easily to those SCVs. The SCVs are doing 2 damage attack.
Yeah, and they're taking a lot of damage.
Yes, they are. This is a really brutal situation for Hero Marine. What could have turned out to be like an almost maybe okay situation. Now his economy is just not there. The Ultras are now coming on out here for Serral. He has full on Hive Tech, just missing the +3 melee upgrade at this point, but doesn't even need it. The Lings are still finding the damage they need.
Oh, and the multi-prong Ling attack coming in. We are going to see Big Gabe getting jumped by the Viper, Ravager, Ultra, and Serral from a what seemed to be unwinnable position. Stays in it, never panics, and just cleanly dismantles his opponent.
Really phenomenal play from Serral in 2 games where both of those games maybe getting caught off guard or kind of taking some extra damage in the early game, still managing to turn both of them around and turn them into wins. It really just goes to show you why he is Jonas Italo. He is one of the GOATs of StarCraft 2 and why he is so gosh darn good and also a potential player who could win this entire event.
Oh, I mean, potential player. He is absolutely a favorite to win this event, for sure. We do have to look back at game number 2, though. Those biles. There was a lot of biles that landed on that big Marine army as it was coming across the map. We are going to take a look at a fight. Man, there were so many fights around this position. I'm trying to remember which one this was. Oh, this was the brutal anti-timing just before the 2-2 when the Vipers had all the juice they could want. This felt like not necessarily the worst fight for Hero Marine or the best fight for Serral, but it felt so nice for him. We are getting that interview set up for you in just a moment. We've got another nice look here at a fight that almost looked a little bit messy.
It started off okay here for Serral, who's definitely getting a little bit spread out and everything. He used all of his Lings and Banelings here, but it was the reinforcements at Hero Marine that actually made things look a little bit scarier, but eventually he actually ended up looking pretty good.
Yes.
All right.
Hello there, I am Demo, and I'm here joined by the winner of our last match. It is Basilisk Serral, and I just asked you before, how do you feel? But that is your first match of the tournament, and getting off to a 2-0. You must be feeling great right now.
Yeah, feels great. Always it's a little bit I was a little bit nervous when we started off the tournament, and you really want to start off strong. So very happy with the win. The second game was extremely close, so could have went either way, but happy I managed to clutch it down.
Yeah, I did actually want to ask you about the second game in particular, because you were opening up speedless lings and going for the roach styles in general. But the second game, what would you have done differently? Because, I mean, he did do something a little bit weird in that he went very fast third CC. I know the 8 Rex follow-up is kind of standard and has been for a little bit of time, but yeah, what would you do different?
Yeah, I think I just need to create out a little bit more. I obviously couldn't know exactly what the follow-up was. I was kind of thinking maybe there's a 2-on-1, but then again, like, would he never actually do that? But like, Bjorn does it all the time, so I was a little bit worried still. So I made some safety roaches and stuff. But I think he was like, he probably went like gasless 3cc into double bay or something. So it was, yeah, my creed wasn't just good enough, and I think he probably should have killed me with the first timing. But yeah, it's hard when you don't know what's happening.
Absolutely, absolutely. Game 1, I have no idea what was going through your mind there, but Gabe opening up with a Hellbat push, Marora, was that something in your mind that was a possibility?
Yeah, for sure. After I saw the Viking, I was kind of thinking that it's a possibility that he's gonna hit a Marauder timing there. I started making some blind roses again. Well, I always make like the 5 rice for the Hellions, but I even started making extras, and then the timing hit. So I was kind of predicting it in a way, because I don't know what he otherwise would be playing a Viking opener, but I guess he could have made like a Viking Lib or something, just extremely standard. But yeah, but obviously alarm bells ring pretty hard after we see the first Viking.
Alrighty, and you were one of the players that you didn't know necessarily who you were going to go up against. You know, it was one of those guys from the play-ins, and everybody else, they had a few weeks at least to practice for a specific guy. How did your practice go? What did you do for that kind of situation?
Yeah, it was hard to prepare for the first opponent. Obviously, I put some effort into Bjorn, especially just because I kind of figured there's at least a 50% chance I'm gonna get him, because he's probably gonna make it through, and then it's just 50-50 between the two guys. So I would say I put the most on him. But obviously, I put some thought into other matches as well. But yeah, it's hard when you don't know. You don't kind of like. I don't want to do full preparation for all of those 4 players necessarily, but obviously I need to have some ideas on how I want to play off the series against everyone in case I get someone.
Yeah, and I talked to you a little bit before about your drawing skills. I'm very happy that you're much better at StarCraft than you are at drawing. Just want to say congratulations, Terrell, and any last words?
Yeah, well, I don't think the drawing skills are that bad. I've got a lot of my drawings right, so I think that's pretty good. I think his was actually worse.
He might have been worse. It was just the fact you said it was going to be easy at the start every time, and I was like, what is that? I know what it is, and I don't know. But yeah, congratulations, and happy to see you move on.
Thank you, and thanks to all the fans and Basilisk, and obviously thanks to the tournament organizers. It's always a blast to be here, and really fun to play here.
Awesome. Guys, we're going to go to a short break, and we will be joined with Hero and Lancer for our next match. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Esports World Cup. We are getting ready to move into our last match of the day on this particular stream. It is going to be a Protoss versus Protoss showdown. As you can see, those two lovely gentlemen now arriving here. It is going to be, you saw one of their names, it's going to be Hero versus someone. They were wearing a mask. Who was it? We'll talk about that in a second. But Ben, I think you actually had some, you were checking on some updates that are happening on the other stream.
Yeah, just given that we've got two streams going on over here, we did have Raynor take down Shin 2-0, which, you know, a lot of people have been questioning whether Raynor's he's back kind of thing. You know, he's a guy that has won Gamers 8 over here in Saudi. So a very, very phenomenal player, and we all know he can do very well. And we do have Classic Rogue going on as well. And I believe Classic is 1-0 up currently. Ooh. So, I mean, that's a spicy one. And for Artosis over there, you know, talking about the fake goat, you know, he's probably a little bit disappointed.
You know, I do feel for Artosis a little bit, Dave, because, like, I know as, like, say, someone that would always hype up all the NA players and everything. Anytime an NA player lost, I would actually get like angry tweets from people who are like, oh, I guess a North American player isn't that good, huh? And I know Artosis just gets that with the Rogue now anytime Rogue loses.
I thought you were saying you like sympathize with Artosis about being wrong all the time, given that you're wrong quite a lot about the Americans.
Whoa,
but you know,
whoa,
that's where I thought you were going
okay.
there, Ravi. That's where you go.
Sounds like we got ourselves a Dr. Suleiman Al-Habib hot take, as Ravi thinks he is, you know, as much of a struggle as Artosis. Artosis got raked.
That's
for
true.
that goat
That's
take.
true.
I mean,
that
the
was
curse. Artosis literally has a curse named after him, you know?
Can we just make our Dr. Salman Al-Habib hot take just that Artosis thinks Rogue is gonna win?
Or he's the
we just
goat,
have a filler one.
He's not even here. Like, well, he's not gonna be able to argue with it. So yeah, that's the Dr. Salman Al-Habib hot take here on the stream. It is gonna be that Artosis predicts Rogue to win.
for the doctor's
Despite
notes.
being down 0-1 right now versus Classic.
Yep.
That's pretty brutal. But guys, we do actually have a match that we're going to be covering here on this stream. And it is not going to be Artosis' favorite player, Rogue. It is going to be Hero facing off versus Cyan. And I want to hear, Ben, your thoughts on this upcoming match.
I mean, this is definitely like the world's best Protoss right now, kind of in contention with Classic at this point, at least the guys that can turn up to lands.
Ben? Which one?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. They're so different sides of the yin and yang, right? Like, Hero, super damn aggressive, in your face, he's not going to let you breathe. Classic, on the other hand, he is the guy that plays very much like Cure if Cure was a Protoss. Like, sustained, just knows what he wants to do. Not really too much chaos about it. I know he's had times in the past, like a BlizzCon a long time ago, where he did the whole Blink T shenanigans against Rogue. But yeah, he's up against Cyan. And Cyan, he's not bad by any means. But this is, on paper, a mismatch. Because you're against one of the greatest Protosses of all time. Ever since he came back from the army, Hero is one of the guys that came back, and he looked potentially better than he was before. In fact, I will say that. Even though he was the prince of IEMs and stuff like that, he came back looking better. And I do feel that if there is a time for Hero to truly shine, it is now. Like, Protoss has looked better than it has done in a long time. PvZ, very possible. PvT, super possible. I mean, like, if you tell me that there is a player that he cannot beat in this tournament, I tell you to get out, you know?
Yeah, and Dave, I mean, it really just goes to show you that Hero right now in 2025 has an almost 80-some% win rate in PvP, but he has definitely dropped games to players like a MaxPax or a Showtime or a Classic and everything. How are you feeling about Hero's PvP coming into this? Is he fallible or fallible, whatever that word is?
Fallible,
yeah.
I've heard it both ways.
Is he fallible? That's a great question. I mean, there's stairs
definitely
everywhere.
can fall over a bit, like in his games as well.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen it?
Like, Hero, he's one of those guys, you know, like, he can play a 99% perfect game.
Yes,
and
then
then
the 1%.
That one moment where you're like, Hero,
you stack up the void rays under the bios.
Don't blink, and it's like, he's the one guy that will blink, and it's like, oh no, but...
That's 52 charge lots without charge.
He's just one of those guys that he's almost so complete, and when you watch him, he's the guy that you root for so hard. It's just the consistency. That's something that has often lacked with him. But when he does bring it, and he absolutely can bring it, yeah, he's force to be reckoned with. And PvP-wise, I think Hero's micro is quick and clean. Like, he's not just good at it, he's quick at it. So all those like little skirmishes that you have in PvP, which they can happen a lot, he's one of the best.
And he's good at improvising the micro, too. So there's a lot of players that if they get into a Blink Stalker war, you're like, yeah, so good at microing their Blink Stalkers. I think of Trigger as one of the cleanest Blink Stalker micro players. Going back to Korea, there's a ton of very strong Blink Stalker micro players. But I think of Hero, and even when the game gets to the weirdest position where you're like, okay, there's 6 sentries, 2 warp prisms versus 9 marines, a medevac, he like somehow is like, okay, so if I carve up the things like this, I put 3 marines in range, I drop the sentries to form a concave, like I pull the prism to the side, I send 1 into the main. You're like, how did you do this in a quarter of a second? But he just knows the right answer and he executes so well. That improvisational micro is second to none for me when it comes to Hero, and that is what has made him such a dynamic and amazing player, and particularly in PvP, where a lot of times you can come in from weird angles with weird combinations of units in the first 5 minutes of the game. That is where Hero can really show his quality.
I like what you say, because he is a freestyler, and he kind of thrives in chaos. Like, he might have a plan going into it, but he's very quick to deviate. And he's one of those players that you cannot guarantee what he's going to do. You can say, like, maybe he'll have a weird wall-off kind of thing, but often it's a bait. Like, he'll do so many weird things that don't make sense. Like, where he's already got Mass Phoenix and he's against Mass Buda, he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to switch out of this. You know, just like, okay, but I trust him most of the time.
Yeah.
But PvP, I don't feel it has that kind of swing to it. You have your army comp that you love to go for. He's one of the best with gateway units, especially. He was the guy that came back and he revolutionized PvZ by himself single-handedly. Everybody copied him, and he was still the best at it. This is going to be ridiculously hard for Cyan, like ridiculously hard. And Cyan's going to have to whip out some magic here, like, because playing a straight-up game is going to be hard. And PvP is one of those games where I do feel that the tricks that you have up your sleeve aren't as available anymore. Like, scouting is very easy to do, it's very possible to do, and you just have to outplay your opponent. So these really top-tier Protoss players are as hard as ever to beat in PvP, I feel.
Okay, Ben, Dave, for the next 30 seconds, you two are Cyan's coach coming into this next match. You have to tell him what is the way that you approach this series that you're going to be able to win and defeat Hero. What do you tell him, Dave?
Water on the keyboard.
Okay.
I was going to say,
Ben.
don't cry. Like,
Oh my God.
Something a bit like, you know, realistic, a bit
You
like...
guys are brutal.
I mean, like, honestly, this... Of all our matches today, we had some where it's like, you know, Trigger against Marrow, there was an obvious favorite. This one is maybe more in that boat of like, okay, how is Cyan going to do it? And to be fair, Cyan, he's had a long career, and he has at times, like the Chinese region in general, has been stacked with good Protosses, and they always like come in and stuff. You've had to deal with the weird and wacky as well with the Hasses and stuff from that region when all those regions got combined. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy.
I was going to say, though, I will, like, something I have seen very occasionally in, say, like a weekly cup and everything, is you look at Hero and he'll face off against a player that is, like, a much lower caliber and stuff than him, and they'll throw out something weird, like a cannon. Actually, I can actually say this. I have cannon rushed Hero in a weekly before, and I looked at that game and I was like, if I was better at StarCraft, I think Hero's response was maybe not, like, it still is good enough, but, like, his response is not what I would expect a world contender to be. Like, something like that, where Cyan maybe can mix in something like that, or maybe he can try and throw out some kind of, like, Void Ray proxy shield batter. It's just throwing something weird. I do feel like possibilities are there in PvP specifically.
There are, but different stakes, Ravi.
Yes,
This is not a weekly, you know, where he's just like, you know what, chill, I'm playing with one hand against Ravi, and all
Wow,
that
you
kind
think he played with one hand?
Maybe
that actually would be an honor. I thought it was like one finger.
maybe a foot, you know, like Lava's done it in the past, but
That would explain something.
just different scene, different setting. Like, I really think every player here came in absolutely in the lab, channeling out all their flaws, trying to make them as little as possible.
Yeah.
And Hero, he is a player with flaws. We've talked about it, that you can get a little overzealous, but that is something that you can absolutely reel in. And against a player like Cyan, it is a time that you have to reel it in a little bit, because it's a best of 3. And going down to that lower bracket, like, I do feel that Hero, he is an opponent that nobody really wants to go up against. Like, nobody. So he will absolutely want to stay with 2 lives, or getting to the latter stage of the tournament as easily as possible.
Yeah, I do want to go back to the question you asked, because I do actually have a serious answer about quick 30 seconds, what does the coach tell you? Now, we're going back in time to the beginning of preparation, right? I'm going to tell him you have 2 choices. You either choose a build and you stick to it like nobody's business, whether that's a build that hits off 1 base, some kind of proxy robo shenanigans, something crazy, some kind of 2-base sentry immortal push. It doesn't matter exactly what it is. Relatively early, I would say before 3 bases, and you do not deviate from that game plan. It doesn't necessarily matter even what you see. Maybe you adjust like a probe being built, but you really, really drill that. You go I fear not the man who's practiced, 10,000 kicks once. You do, I want to practice 1 kick 10,000 times. Or you go so hard the other direction where you show something, and then as soon as it's scouted, if it's scouted, you pivot to the complete opposite. Like something that would even make Hero blush for how out of this world it is. Like, I'm talking something like you build, I don't know, you start up a Twilight Council in your main, you build like 3 additional gateways, Hallucinated Phoenix comes in, you cancel everything, and you drop like 3 Stargates in the corner of the map and go Mass Phoenix. Like, legitimately something so out there that people are like, is this guy okay?
Yeah, something like that, or there are some interesting maps in the map pool right now. Maybe like a gold base or something.
Not crazy enough.
Not crazy enough.
Not for me.
If I was actually as coach and I was really trying to get a win out on the board, I would try and do something that is very famous in StarCraft 2 by showing something, because you're going to get scouted, that looks extremely normal. But while it all looks normal, you've got a proxy base over like where it's so unlikely that it's at your opponent's 4th or 5th or whatever, like off the map, that you could potentially do something like, or because he can't get thrown off, because things are going to go wrong for both these players, and the good players know how to reel it in, stay on, and get the win at the end of it. He's just going to have to be on ball, on point the whole series, because this is not going to be easy.
No, it's not, and we're going to get to see what exactly that preparation is yielding him, because he has had a week or so to prepare for this series, and to be totally honest, I think that of the 2 players, I think that it's more likely that Cyan has prepared a lot for Hero. I think it's less likely that Hero's put as much of the time investment thinking about Cyan and how to approach him as a player.
I think that's, Hero's more busy thinking about how he's going to win the tournament and the players he's going to have to beat. Cyan shouldn't be thinking that far ahead. If he can get a win here, that's already incredible for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at that point, like, that's the upset of the tournament. Maybe for the whole tournament. Like, it's definitely the upset for the first day. Like, that's not going to be contested, but like that might be the upset of the tournament. We are going to be getting into Tokamak, it looks like. There are gold bases on this map. They're like half gold, but maybe. We'll see. The Chinese scene has some good Protoss players. For now, let's get into it here as we have spawning down in the bottom left. It is the Chinese Protoss player, Cyan.
And one of the mightiest Protosses of all time. Spawning as the red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, it is Hero. I think Hero is one of the guys of the Protoss race that no matter what race you play in StarCraft 2, you can enjoy him. You can like him. Like, inside the game, outside the game, this guy's always smiling, he's good looking. The way he plays, it's clean, it's flashy. Like, he, to me, is one of the most respected Protosses ever since Reign, kind of thing. Just for, like, how other players from other races, they're not just like, oh, he's Protossing me. Like, the way that he does it, he can make it look so busted, Like, his micro is good, and for that, I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for the man.
Me too. Me too. To me, him and Dark are the same person in two different bodies in so many ways. Obviously, there are differences to their play, and one of them's Zerg, one of them's Protoss, but the way that they find ways to win from impossible positions is just, it's how can you not be romantic about StarCraft? You know, you watch somebody like Hero or a Dark play, and you're just in awe of what they're doing. Now, I do want to point out something very, very small. It's a tiny little detail, but Cyan's 16th probe was like 2 or 3 seconds late. Like, he built like a 15 gateway. Don't want to get into it too much, but already that is not a great sign for controlling those nerves.
Well, I was just thinking, I've been looking at the webcams while watching these players in these openings, because they are mirrored openings with the buildings they made, but the units very different. So Cyan going for double Adept, Hero, on the other hand, going for the Stalker Sentry. So a safer play in that regard. We'll be able to get scouting done with that hallucination, but it's the Adepts that can get on the field and threaten the probe lines and stuff. So I do respect the fact that Cyan is going for something like that. The Stargate openings afterwards can be really lethal as well. But I have been watching the webcams, and Cyan has been huffing and sighing quite a bit at the start of this game, so you can definitely tell that he might be feeling the pressure a little bit. A little bit of a pause here. Hero just showing his monitor. What the hell is going on here?
Who downloaded Candy Crush on here?
Yeah, I hope the problem isn't so big. Admin's already on the scene to sort out the problem. And after those 2 Adepts, by the way, Cyan is going for double Sentry. So definitely interesting. So it's not going to be like the 3-4 Adept follow-up and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to talk about the game too much because obviously we're in a pause. But for now, I think we can probably switch back to us on cams. We'll just chat. We'll just yap. We'll just riff.
I mean, both players still have their headphones on, which is good news.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. We chilling. All right.
We are ready. Admin was quick to sort it out, and hopefully back in very shortly. Referee's going to give us a countdown here, and then let the magic commence.
I think maybe Hero wanted to cancel that pylon. I'm not sure, but we will see. We are going to get right back into the action. We're chilling. It was neat to see their heart rates. They dropped by about 20 when it went to the pause. That's like both of them in unison almost. That's kind of neat. So they both kind of have the same relative elevated heart rate. That's cool to me. That's a small thing, but that's very cool. Will be a Nexus behind this and a quick shield battery.
Wait, does Cyan not really have a second probe out? He has a second okay, he starts his Nexus quite late there. I was kind of worried about him not having a probe there to actually start his Nexus, but does start a little bit later than his opponent. And already Hero is kind of settling for the defender's posture here, but that was clutch.
That was incredibly clutch. That was so close. Very well done right there from Hero. It is going to be the quick robo behind this, so this does open up a lot of opportunities. And this may actually be kind of what I was alluding to there. You can throw down an Immortal, throw down a quick Warp Prism behind it, and get very aggressive while even taking your third. This is something Hearthstone did right when the patch dropped that buffed those sentries, giving them the bonus damage versus shields, and really enabled a lot more sentry-heavy play. Let's see if that's what Cyan goes for here. Right now, I mean, there's not a crazy amount. This is a nice little interception. Force field's going to drop, maybe. Can he pin these against the wall? There's a nice force field from Hero.
I mean, 2 force fields getting Adept down, that means probes can no longer be one-shot. But yeah, what you noted at, or hinted at, Cyan did make those 4 sentries incredibly early. And he's even making more now as well. So he's going to have a lot of force field energy on the map. Immortals will be pumping out quite a bit faster for him. Robo's only just started out now for Hero, but he will have the mobility. And he has been pretty diligent about his scouting.
Yeah, he absolutely has. He did throw down his own robo facility, but has started up the Blink upgrade. I mean, looking at this for Cyan, I do not hate this if he ends up going for what I'm exactly what I'm talking about. Looks like it is going to be continuous Immortal production for now. Can we just double check that? Yeah, okay. So it's maybe going to be a 2 Immortal into Warp Prism push, adding on an additional Gateway even. So, you know, I'm looking at the supplies. I'm looking at how this is going. This is Well, not bad so far for Cyan.
I mean, it's as close as it can be, right? Like, it really depends on what his options are going to be afterwards, because Robo is done for Hero. He did save a lot of his Chrono Boost energy to whip out those Immortals quickly. And by the time you do get to the other side of the map, is he going to go for a third here? I mean, the scouting from Hero, he just misses where that third is. Did get to see the probe there, but a Warp Prism in the making. That usually signifies that you want to be a little bit aggressive with your Protoss squad.
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking to deny a potential third from his opponent. There is a defensive shield battery at the natural. The Robo's right there, so any built units are immediately ready to fight. So as Cyan, yeah, no, I love this. I like the Twilight Council, the Forge as a transition. So far, I cannot find really a single thing to find fault with. Like, this looks nice from Cyan, and I like his position.
It does. It's just he's going to be banking on that Warp Prism, using it micro-wise. He has to do so well with it because he doesn't have Blink available. Like, the army of Hero is so mobile against him, and the micro potential is kind of infinite, right? And even though he's only got one Immortal in the mix, I think he's got a second one joining the fray, it is still a scary squad to be up against. And quite a bit of hallucination for those Archons. I like it. I like it because he knows that a little push is coming his way. His third is much earlier. And he's actually foregone Blink entirely, just going straight into charge. And I like that play as well.
Yeah, I think that's the correct call right here for sure. You need units out, but he does need to be in position right here. Unfortunately, the Observer is with the army, so it's not kind of spotting the front. That was, I believe, a cheeky little snipe. Can we take a look at the battle report right there? What just got picked off? That was a...
Stalker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was Cyan killing a Stalker. That's very nice for him.
It definitely is. Charge followed up for Hero as well, though. Pro production did slow down a little bit for the both of them, but third bases are going to be pumping now. And Cyan's alive. He's got a higher probe count, his Forge was earlier, his Charge will be online, and he's got a good stocky amount of Immortals. And these Blink Stalkers actually haven't been able to get too much done. You see that, just utilizing the Blink there. I think he did lose maybe a Stalker for his troubles, but I tell you what, I feel that this is as good as a position as Cyan was ever going to hope to be in at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and he is going to be building a lot of gateways. He stopped worker production for the moment. An attempted snipe on this. He gets the Immortal in the Prism. Very nice read from Hero right there. He knew Cyan was going to try and save that Immortal. He waited for the pickup, and he couldn't have timed it perfectly. That is what we call footsies.
I mean, that's very impressive. Lovely force field here as well. Sorting out these two Adepts. Still loses a couple of probes, so not the end of the world, given that they're not going to be good in a fight when it comes down to it. Hero has to be careful here, though, and he is just that. Both have an Observer, so they can both see one another. Immortal's being used as a frontline buffer here, but you can really tell, even though the Blink Stalkers didn't get damage done initially, slowing everything down and taking out that Warp Prism just brings the wind out of your sail.
It really does. It really, really does. And I mean, getting the Immortal as well is going to make it really uncomfortable for Cyan to push across the map. He did build another Warp Prism, but in this case, he is going to elect to add +2, add additional gases, go into Archons. No fourth base yet, but he does have an upgrade timing lead. And once again, this does not feel bad at all for Cyan. I'm still liking his position relatively well, despite a really nice pickoff earlier for Hero.
He's ahead in a lot of the techs, like his Templar Archives almost, or in fact, it was done a little bit earlier, but nice little cancel at the fourth base and gets out, losing just one Stalker there. I mean, he recalled as soon as he could, and now High Templars are joining the field for Cyan. And I mean, those boys, they are hard to kill in this matchup. They'll be soaking up a lot of damage, dealing a lot to these big Zealot balls as well. But Hero with that cancel will get his fourth up a little bit earlier. In this game, it's neck and neck at this point. I wouldn't give either one a huge edge at all, but Cyan with that +2, he can definitely get a little bit of a timing going if he wants to.
Yeah, this feels like we've kind of gone back in time like 8 to 10 years when that was like what we were focusing on in the matchup. It was like, who has the better +2 timing? And they would win a lot of the PvP games in relatively even matches on paper. This is a big +2 timing. We are going to see Hero just trying to find some value. Nice snipe down on a Zealot in the middle of the map, but oh, I like this very much for Cyan. A little bit of Warp Prism play in the main base. The push at the front, this is going to get very messy for Hero to deal with. I love that he shows the army at the third and then pivots to the fourth. while Hero is dealing with this, but Hero will stay on top of his opponent's army. Good movement from both players. Guardian Shield popped on both sides. There is a defensive cannon here, but the +2 weapons is going to be big. Nice force fields there from Hero. Cyan now switching back into the main base, but Hero is there again. Good positioning on the Zealot in the funnel. It's a 1v1 Battle of Thermopylae, but ultimately this is going to be a hold in the main base for Hero for now, and that is going to put the fire out, and that's what he needed.
This, like, if we look at the resources lost out after all of these little engagements, Cyan just lost a lot more. A lot more. 30 Zealots, like, all those engagements, they were all in favor of Hero. I even like the Photon Cannon in the main base by him, just helping out a little bit with that Warp Prism drop, and Cyan wanted more out of that. Like, he wanted Hero out the game after that kind of engagement, and Hero, he's not the kind of guy that's just going to sit around and take it. And this number of Stalkers now, these kind of guys can pick and choose the fights they want. There's no blink on the side of Cyan still, and those Archons can get tortured from afar.
They absolutely can. We are going to see Hallucinated Colossus. That's a very interesting choice right here. Archons are getting slowly chewed away at. Force field coming in from Cyan. Not going to be able to be too helpful. It's broken there. Immortals in the back line for Cyan trying to hold the line, but there's just not enough front line for them. And it looks like Hero is going to do, well, he's going to blink forward, snipe the Prism, gets these two Immortals on the run. He's going to take down the base, and he's going to take down game number 1. Very well played by the Korean Protoss. But we got to give a lot of props to Cyan there. That was a really great game from him with a lot of opportunities that he created.
He actually played a lot better than I gave him credit for. Like, he played a solid opener. For a bit, it looked like he was making all the right moves, getting ahead in tech and stuff. Army, like the army that he went for at the end, once he lost all those Zealots and the blob happened, and then you're just left with Immortals, Zealots, and then Archons, not having a bunch of Stalkers with Blink to be mobile, like, those guys are so darn good. It may not feel like it when they're kind of tickling the Archons, but on that mass, they can blink back and let your huge flood of units charge in. It's just a much easier and more mobile unit comp to go with. So the fact that he forwent that tech to then hit a timing with just more units, but Hero just played very well, because the initial Blink Stalk stuff didn't do what he wanted to. You talked about it, the Warp Prism snipe with the Immortal in. You could feel that Cyan, like on the webcam, he was like, tilted his head a little bit, because maybe with that extra Immortal and the Warp Prism not dying, he can do that push significantly earlier, but well played to him.
Yeah, he's got a +1 timing at that point versus no attack upgrades. It hits earlier with that extra Immortal. It's a big difference. But something really interesting during that last engagement that Hero did a really great job of, I want to highlight the Stalker versus Archon interaction, is that Hero kind of left the Stalkers in like a staggered pattern at the front, so that the Archons are like, they're kind of bunching up against each other trying to hit them. And every time they hit a Stalker, it gets low. Hero just blinks it back. I know that sounds very simple, blink micro, but like, he's actually diminishing the DPS so much by confusing the Archons. They're bumping up against each other trying to get through, and he's really mitigating the effectiveness of them.
In both those engagements, it felt like Hero just had a better concave, right? Like, the units weren't clumping up, and even the one at the top there on the Nexus, it was like you had maybe 1 or 2 Immortals being able to fire for Cyan, and he had a good 4 or 5, it felt like, and just couldn't do it. And then he backs off, then the force fields come in and like scoop away the Zealots that are left over. Hero's just very good at these fights, and we were absolutely talking about it before on the desk. Like, he's a bit of a freestyler. Like, give him a situation, he will do his best to absolutely kill you, come out of it the best. You can really feel that when you can alter the terrain like you can with these sentries, he does it better than anybody. And using the Stalkers as well, like, they started off fairly useless, I want to say, but as the game went on, he made a few extra, and you got to see them utilized to perfection.
Yeah, and it's not just about the micro. Actually, we'll hold that thought. We'll start up with the intros. In the top right, for Twisted Minds, it is the Smiling Assassin. Give it up for Hero.
And representing JDG all the way from China, it is Cyan.
So I do want to highlight specifically the difference in what Hero does with the micro, because it's not just that he makes his own concave good, he does something to make his opponent's concave bad if they don't adjust to it. So the Archons, as they're crunching up against each other. It's a very specific situation where you have like 4 or 5 Archons bumping into each other. It's just so impressive that Hero's able to recognize that and like confuse the enemy AI. Cyan could have individually microed the Archons, peeled them apart, but during a fight where you're doing 4, 5, 6 different things, you're managing different types of units, trying to get the Guardian Shield covering everything, trying to make sure you warp in the correct places. You're already down. You've kind of lost your opportunity to win outright. You're just trying not to die. It's just such a nice little addition, that just the cherry on top of an already delightful Micro Sunday.
Absolutely is. And we do have mirrored openings again by both these players. It's a double gate. I mean, this has been the opening for PvP for a long time now. I mean, we did have, obviously, the Gate Nexus openings being absolutely popularized by the young Danish prince, MaxPax. But here, with these very open naturals, there isn't a ramp to defend. These are the builds to go by. And they're not risky. You can get away with a lot. And it all comes down to what units you're going to pop out of these bad boys first, the gateways. And the game before, we had double adept into 4 sentries by Cyan, and Hero went for the very safe and standard Stalker Sentry, which it does look like it's going to be the same again.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. It's a pretty good build. I mean, honestly, they're both good builds. They're both good builds. The potential to get 4 or 5 probes early on with the Adepts and force shield batteries to be built. Even if you do no damage, you're putting your opponent under stress and you're forcing out 25 minerals every time you fake the shade. And of course, that early hallucination scout is invaluable in every StarCraft 2 match. I mean, it's not chess. We don't see the board. Being able to see that board is worth a lot. Very interesting decision from Cyan. He lets the pylon finish.
Cybercore.
Oh, that's a cute little play right there.
This is what they used to do a long time ago. And
yeah.
Like, you'd be forced to make a Zealot first against this kind of stuff. It happened mainly with the Nexus after one gate openings.
Yeah.
But here, this is definitely a little bit cheeky. And if this is something he's practiced, I mean, those 2 Adepts.
Oh!
Lovely, lovely by Hero. I mean, he will get up his Nexus maybe faster, but Cyan's got the minerals available for his Nexus, and he starts it up, and damage done, 3 probes for the cost of 1 Adept thus far. I mean, that second one's going to be very hurt, but I like Cyan's cheeky play. He's already shaking his head, by the way. He doesn't feel good about this.
I think he wanted to cancel the Cybernetics core. I think that has to be what that head shake was. Honestly, I look at that and I'm like, I don't love it necessarily not canceling it, but I don't hate it. Like, it did buy him another few seconds. The Adepts were still running around. He got 3 probes with those 2 Adepts. Like, yeah, this is not bad at all out of Cyan. And it is going to be a similar situation to what we saw in the first game. Twilight Council versus the Robo. Cyan, though, does have a much faster Nexus. Yeah, this is certainly a very reasonable position for Cyan.
It's reasonable, but yeah, you're
up against Hero. Yeah.
You're up against Hero. You want everything to go perfectly as you've planned in practice and done so like hundreds of times in this week alone, possibly. And we do have a little bit of a supply block here for Hero at a bad moment. He does want to be getting Stalkers out in the field, probes out in the field, and that could bite him a little bit.
Yeah, that's a painful block. Cyan has his Nexus finish. Hero might have been thinking the Nexus was very close to finishing. Ooh, but this double Adept getting into the main base is a really nice move for Hero. Double force field will come down, but it actually doesn't protect all the probes, and that is going to be 4. Can he get the 5th? No. Enough DPS there to deny the kill on the 5th probe. But that, you talk about needing things to go right. The 2 Adepts getting in like that, that is things going very wrong.
And I do like the fact that he's going for it again with another 2 Adepts, because Hero's been so good about blocking them, and Cyan's been so persistent about trying it. The first time Hero tries it, it went remarkably well. There was no probe waiting at the top of the ramp, and why would you expect another set of them to come? So this is very sneaky by Hero, but I love it.
Cheeky little hallucinated probe. Fun fact, you get 4 probes when you hallucinate them, so you can scout in very wild different directions. Is there a probe in the wall right here to drop that gate? The answer is no, and that is going to be a cancel. He baits out the recall into the main base, cancels the shade, and will find 3 more probes. Oh, that is so nice for Hero. Cyan was trying to do a little maneuver with a Warp Prism push, but he left the Adepts on the other side of the map. Very nice form Cyan to go for this, and he's actually going to be able to save these. Okay. Cyan punching back very nicely.
That was very nice by Cyan. He needed something like that because suffering the recall and what have you, and getting out with all those
Ooh.
units. Now a Dark Shrine and Glaive Adepts. This is actually really cool by Cyan, and he is bringing the heat this game.
And it's cool for a lot of reasons right now, because that Twilight Council will get scouted, and it is going to be seen as researching something. Blink, little bit expensive. Obviously, he's got the money, he's got the gas, but Glaives is going to allow him to get very harassy, build a lot of very cheap and mobile units that can be in multiple places at once, while those DTs are potentially causing a ruckus. Now, we do see the robo facility going down. It is going to be in time if he goes straight into an observer, but it is going to be close, and it is going to depend on where that robo facility is and whether Hero recognizes this, and also where the DT warps in. We do have a gateway on the top left, though.
I mean, if Hero is absolutely locked in here, seeing that Stalker count be so low, like just one Stalker he's spotted so far, like if you were in Cyan's shoes, maybe warping in a couple of Stalkers might have been the play there, just to absolutely sell your opponent on the blink, but I'm not sure he's going to have any idea for the time being. But I say that, look how many shield batteries getting made by Hero.
Yeah,
he knows something's up.
He does know something is up, but what he thinks it is that Glaive Adept timing, and it technically is. He's not building the Observer right now. There it is. It starts up just in the nick of time. Fake hallucinated War Prisms everywhere. Very, very cool. DT running into the natural, running into the third.
It? I thought he was trying to block it with his Blink Stalkers there. I mean, one Observer will come out right at that natural, so one DT will be dealt with, but one in the main already, one in the third. This is a lot of chaos coming down from Cyan, and no third
nice
in
blink.
production by him either. This is a big, big all-in attack from him, and just Blink Stalkers to deal with. I mean, he's kind of lucky that his army comp's actually not bad against Glaive Adepts.
Yes, I mean, that's the beauty of the Blink Stalker. It's good at pretty much everything, except fighting Mass Immortal, really. But it is going to be a massive commitment from Cyan behind this. Hero just now recognizing what's going on. Those shield batteries are going to be very handy. There is a nice set of force fields here. We'll catch a couple of the Stalkers. Archons do have a decent concave, but there's just a lot of defensive power with those shield batteries here for Hero, and they're healing up those Stalkers so effectively.
Oh, even getting the hallucination in here as well. But the Archons, one of them is left alive with just health. No, it's dead, and that is a huge amount of Adepts still. Just one Immortal in the back that's dealing maybe more damage than all those Adepts combined at this point. I mean, Cyan is so darn committed to this, and look at Hero. Even pulling the probes here, gets the Warp Prism. That shuts down the aggression. Second Immortal does join the party here, but maybe just a little bit too late, and boom, blink forward, wipes up the army. GG. Hero takes it fairly decisively here, 2-0.
That he does. Cyan put up an absolutely admirable fight, but Hero, I mean, we've been talking about it. I feel like it's been the theme of the B stream. We're getting all of the championship contenders here. You got Hero, you got Cyril, you got Maru. Those are absolutely players we look at to be in a winning position in the tournament. So while Cyan does his best, and it's a very valiant effort, it's just not enough against a player like Hero, not today.
Yeah, I mean, Cyan, that was cheeky play. Like, that is not easy to deal with. And Hero, upon scouting all that stuff, didn't see a third going up, puts down 5 shield batteries at that third. Maybe that wasn't quite the location to go for, but when you're dealing all the harass, you're hoping it lasts for a little bit longer, the chaos in the main and the natural. But Hero deals with it, has just the right number of probes to just sustain his army, even though it's not the best against the Immortals, for sure, but gets to deal with all those big, stocky units. Then it's just Adepts left over. Very well handled by Hero.
Absolutely, and we do have a nice shot of the Chinese fans here showing up to support their player. You love to see it here at the Esports World Cup. That is very cool to see. Obviously, didn't come out his way, but he's got another chance tomorrow, and we'll see if he can get it done.
Yeah, I mean, the list of opponents that have dropped down to that lower bracket, there's a few real big hitters. I mean, you've got Shin that got knocked down by Raynor. I don't know who necessarily got knocked down. You got Beyond down there waiting as well. That's a scary one.
Yeah.
A lot of very scary players, but when you've just gone up against Hero, most likely it's going to get at least a little bit easier. But this is the Esports World Cup. Nothing's going to be easy over here. You're going to have to work tooth and nail to win any match.
Absolutely. We are just getting that interview with Hero set up in a moment. For now, we're just looking at these replays. Of course, we had that beautiful snipe on the Prism initially. We had the decisiveness and the kind of setup of the concave from Hero. And this is where things kind of started to go off the rails in game number 2, those adepts getting in. For now, though, we're going to take a look at the interview.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Hero, the winner of that last series. Hero, let us know, how were you feeling? That last game looked like it may have had some kind of close moments and everything, but were you worried during that series?
고요. 일단 마지막 경기 때 되게 좀 불안한 모습이 있었는데 혹시 좀 질까봐 좀 불안하진 않으셨는지 궁금합니다.
일단 다크 템플러 플레이를 전혀 예상을 못했어가지고 좀 많이 당황해서 막 원하지 않던 앞전멸도 하고 그랬는데 그래도 다크 템플러 좀 침착하게 막는 바람에 이길 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
Yeah, I didn't expect the DTs to come forward, so I was very caught off guard, and I had made some pretty good, like, big mistakes, like getting a forward jump, forward blink on the middle of the fight. So yeah, that caught, like, that I was rattled, but I think I got to manage to get hold of DTs as soon as possible, so I think I could win.
Well, you did a great job with it, and with that victory, you're going to move on to face off versus your next round opponent and everything. What are your expectations or hopes for this event? Like, what do you consider to be a success for this tournament?
이제 곧 메인 스테이지에서 열릴 이제 대결의 승자와 함께 이제 대결을 치르시게 될 텐데 이제 그거와 더불어서 이제 앞으로 진행될 대회에서 좀 어떻게 김준호 선수가 활약할지 좀 어떤 기대를 이번 대회에서 좀 김준호 선수 어떤 기대를 하고 계시는지 궁금합니다.
일단 보셨다시피 푸푸전 정말 지옥이라서 도우기가 일단 좀 올라왔으면 좋겠고 좋겠고 토너먼트를 보자면 일단 이번에 진짜 죽을 만큼 또 열심히 했기 때문에 성적은 또 뒷받쳐 주지 않을까 생각합니다.
Yeah, I mean, well, PvP is pretty hell, so I wish a cure just advances and I would just want to play PvT. But that being said, there's a lot of great players still standing, so and I have prepared a lot for this, like hell of a lot for this, so I'll try to win the championship as much as possible.
That's great to hear. And I have one last question for you, which is a lot of people have been talking about Classic as being this really, really strong Protoss player right now. Do you feel like you're the best Protoss player in the world, or do you think Classic is?
이제 많은 선수들이 이제 김준호 선수 대신에 김도 선수를 지금 1위 프로토스로 좀 뽑고 있는데 본인이 생각하시기에는 지금 김도 선수가 1황이라고 생각하시는지 아니면 김준호 선수가 1황이라고 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
네, 제 생각에도 이 대회 전까지의 폼으로 보자면 도호 형이 저보다 잘했던 것 같고 하지만 이 대회를 WC 대회를 통해서 그 여론을 이제 잠재우고 제가 1황 토스가 되도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah, I think I have to admit that Classic did pretty well, and I have to admit that he's like currently #1 until now. But at this tournament, I will rise back as #1.
That is great news to hear for all of your fans. Thank you so much, Hero, and congratulations again on the victory. We're going to throw back to the desk, actually, with Steadfast and Demu, and I will see how quickly I can run back over there.
That was some inspiring words there from Hero as he says, I may not be #1 right now, but you wait. I will rise again. And that is the mindset of a champion to me. That is the kind of like, hey, don't sleep on me, okay?
No, and I mean he's absolutely right as well. I mean Classic's results recently cannot go ignored. Like they cannot go ignored. He's been doing so damn well, but the Hero, like he hasn't truly been tested yet. This was a nice warm-up for him, I feel, right? Cyan in the first match. I don't know who he's necessarily going up against next. It's either, I believe, Showtime Cure.
Yes.
Which, that's not easy. Like,
no.
In the Protoss department, that's a step up. In the Terran department, Cure's been one of the best TVPs for a long time. But, I mean, Protoss has been doing definitely a bit better, but Showtime is definitely one of the guys that can tango with some of the best Protoss on the planet, so not going to be easy.
What a series, guys. What a series. Thank you for that wonderful breakdown that I heard every single word of as I was running from down over there to over here. Yeah, I have to say, I think we did a lot of talking about Cyan versus Hero and everything in the pre-show and saying how tough of a battle is going to be versus Cyan. Even though Hero won 2-0, Cyan really did show some pretty good games.
I would say he showed some great games. A couple of things go differently, especially in game number 1. We don't see that Warp Prism snipe. That attack timing comes in with the charge, with the +1, with 4 Immortals. I think Hero has a hell of a difficult time holding a push like that. Like, you're going to be seeing a lot of charge lots warping in. You're going to be seeing the upgrade advantage. You're going to be seeing Immortals against Blink Stalkers and Immortals, the units they want to be fighting, and a Warp Prism, the main base, that's just causing chaos potentially. Like, the game plan was, I mean, it was exactly what I was calling for, which is like a really decisive play. But as soon as someone comes in and throws a wrench in that plan, which Hero is so good at, you have to start improvising a little bit. And he improvised well, but it was tough. We do see, of course, the recap of the day.
Yeah, our schedule for the day, which is now concluding at this point, 4 best of 3s. We had Solar getting his victory versus Zaun, Maru getting his victory versus Trigger, Cyril getting his victory versus Hero Marine, and Hero getting a victory versus Cyan. Demu, all 2-0s today.
Yeah, even though it is a lot of 2-0, some of these matches were decently close. I mean, Cyril versus Gabe, that was
that game too.
that was close. Like, I was talking a little bit with Cyril, and he was like, "Yeah, you had me worried there. You had me on the ropes, kind of thing." And I mean, Zaun Solar, that was one that we kind of looked at and was like, that could realistically go either way. Solar seemed so confident in the interview afterwards about everything that happened. But yeah, I think for the most part, no upsets over here on Stream B for the day, and hopefully, the day is coming.
And the nice news is also that, Dave, it sounds like those players who did lose today, they're not eliminated from the event, right?
No, they have an opportunity tomorrow, and these were best of 3s, but the rest of the tournament from this point on is going to be at least best of 5s, and that is a completely different beast. One, because of course you have so much more opportunity to throw out weird builds, pocket builds. Even if you're down 1-0, you can still do a crazy build. And the psychology of that gets a lot more complicated in a best of 5. But 2, you also have this very interesting situation just in terms of how the map vetoes can work out. Sometimes maps that allow for some of these weirder strategies are going to play a much larger role. I think there's just a lot more room to play. And then, of course, you didn't necessarily know who your opponent was. You may have prepared with an idea in mind of who it could have been, but you didn't know for sure who it was.
Absolutely. And that, of course, does mean that we are going to be wrapping up today and finding out how a lot of those matches that you're talking about are going to be happening tomorrow, as that is when things will resume. We are finished up all over here today. I believe there's still some more games happening on the other stream. So thank you, everyone who decided to tune in for the stream here today. We are here at Riyadh Boulevard, but we are going to be signing off for the night and returning tomorrow with more StarCraft action.